Starting cultivation in the world of Naruto. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 26 Plan. Bai Sui quickly boiled water in a wooden basin at home with a key of fire attribute, and then soaked himself in it. Gurgle gurgle. Bai Sui submerged his head in the water and spit bubbles, trying to dispel the strangeness in his heart in this way. Yes, it is strangeness, not fear. Bai Sui felt that he should be afraid. After all, this was the first time he killed someone in his 2 lives, and not just one person, but 17 people, especially those who were directly cut in half with a sword at close range. Such a scene made Bai Sui find that he was not afraid, but he felt that he should be afraid. He shouldn't be so calm. Especially in the previous life, Bai Sui had a strong sense of empathy. Not to mention seeing the corpse on the scene, even if he saw some bloody scenes across the screen, he would be a little unbearable. He would always put himself into the picture. He even vomited directly after seeing a video of someone abusing animals. However, at this moment, Bai Sui was very puzzled. What went wrong? You know, when he set out, Bai Sui was prepared that he would lose control of his emotions because of the killing, but now he didn't feel any fear, and didn't feel any regret for the passing of life. Bai Sui felt that he was no longer like himself, and he became very strange, and he didn't even recognize himself. However, there was no fear, and even if he watched the scene at that time repeatedly in his mind, there was no throbbing in his heart. Not only was he not excited, he was even reviewing his shortcomings in this battle. Bai Sui was so angry that he punched the water, but he could do nothing. Looking at his hands that were extremely clean and without any blood stains, Bai Sui could only sigh deeply. Bai Sui didn't even leave the big wooden tub. Just like that, he fell asleep in the wooden tub. This was the first time that Bai Sui used cultivation to replace sleep and sleep. The next morning, Bai Sui woke up before dawn, got up from the water, dried his body directly with ki, and then changed into a set of clean clothes. Bai Sui found that his self-torture last night did not make him feel any fear or guilt in the end. Instead, it made him control his ki further. The spiritual liquid in his danchin also took shape as a lake. He really couldn't figure it out, so Bai Sui didn't force it. What's more, he had an unexpected gain. Why would he be dissatisfied? After completing his daily practice, Bai Sui walked out of the room and sensed that many people were walking towards the village chief's house. Bai Sui thought about it and walked towards him. On the way, he met Suzuki Showa, who was looking for him. After all, if there is something to do, the disciple should do the work. Things like running errands and calling Bai Sui were assigned to his disciples by Kubota Kayuki. Everyone came to the village chief's house, sat in a circle on the tatami, and explained what happened yesterday. The village chief was talking at the beginning, mainly repeating what Kubota Kayuki said yesterday. Seeing that everyone understood what happened, Bai Sui continued to add, "You don't have to worry too much. Yesterday, I heard from those people that only the traveling merchants who showed the way knew the location of the village, and he didn't tell others the detailed location. Although the team was sent directly by the daimyo, Kubota Kayuki and I blamed it on a group of bandits from the Iron Country, which should divert the attention of the daimyo. Another thing is that for the time being, no one in their hands knows the specific location of the village, but only knows the general direction, and the last village they passed is 50 miles away from us, and we are still in the mountains and forests, so it won't be so easy for them to find us." Hearing this, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. After all, they didn't have the courage and strength to resist, so they could only let it go and could do nothing but run away. This village can be said to have been infused with a lot of effort from everyone, and there is no place for these savages to accommodate them. Seeing the expressions of the crowd, Bai Sui changed the subject, but don't forget, there are more than one peddler who came to the village. Since the village has been noticed by the daimyo, it is possible to find other peddler to lead the way. What? Yes, then what should we do? Before Bai Sui finished speaking, the villagers felt that the sky had fallen. Quiet, it was the village chief who calmed down first and appeased the people at the scene, and then looked at Bai Sui and Kubota Kayuki. Bai Sui nodded. Although we can't stop the daimyo from looking for peddler, it is not an easy task after all. Everyone knows what peddler does. They are all doing illegal business and will definitely try their best to get rid of these things. In this way, The possibility of our village being discovered will be greatly reduced, but this is not enough. Bai Sui did not say anything about counterattacking the daimyo. After all, that was simply impossible. Not to mention whether the villagers had such courage, even Bai Sui did not think that the village had such power. After all, there are ninjas in this world. Bai Sui continued, it's a good idea to have an outpost in our village because it allows us to discover things that are harmful to the village in advance, but this is not enough because the distance is too close. We were lucky this time and discovered this in advance. If we hadn't discovered it in advance, you can imagine the consequences. When the outpost discovered them, the only escape hole in the village had already been blocked by them. By then, even if we wanted to run, it would be too late. Everyone thought about what Bai Sui said and found that it was really as Bai Sui said. Once they were surrounded at the outpost, they would be caught in a jar. Seeing that everyone was silent, Bai Sui continued, my opinion is to build an outpost at the edge of the forest. At least when the daimyo's army is besieged, it can give an early warning, giving the people in the village a chance to escape, and it can also stop the vagrants who come here in the future. All exchanges are completed at the foot of the mountain and the edge of the forest, so that they don't know the exact location of the village. In this way, even if the army wants to search the mountain, because they don't know the exact location of the village, they will split up the troops, wasting a lot of time and energy, and the people in the village will have a greater chance of escape. After saying this, Bai Sui no longer spoke, and it depends on what the village decides to do. After all, Bai Sui is a free person, and it can only be regarded as mutually beneficial with the village and there is no arrears. It can even be said that the village owes Bai Sui a favor, so if the village really does nothing, Bai Sui will not force it. After all, if there is really an invincible danger, Bai Sui will not fight to the death for the village. If he wants to leave at that time, ordinary people really can't stop him. Chapter 27 Immortal Way and Noble Life. The villagers discussed Bai Sui's proposal for a long time, but in the end there was no result. Seeing this, Bai Sui did not force it. After all, these villagers did have limited knowledge. Even if Bai Sui broke it apart and analyzed it, they were still hesitant and unwilling to take any action. I'm afraid they still hoped that Bai Sui and Kubota Jixing would take over if something happened. From that day on, Bai Sui spent more time on himself. He just played the role of a qualified doctor for the village and did not interfere too much. The most obvious one was Iwai Koji, who had stayed by Bai Sui's side before. He was really anxious when he saw his master gradually alienated from the village. However, Bai Sui's teachings over the years also made him realize that this matter was indeed a problem with the villagers' behavior, and his master could not be blamed for this matter. However, on the one hand, there was the grace of teaching, and on the other hand, there was the grace of sheltering, which made him feel uncomfortable being caught in the middle. He wanted to persuade his master several times, but he also knew that it would be too much. After all, his master did not owe the village. It can even be said that most of the people in the village have received the master's favor. How could he repay the favor in return? Bai Sui naturally noticed the difference in his apprentice, but he never pointed it out, just to see what he would think and what he would do. 3 months passed in a flash, and seeing him always hesitate to speak, Bai Sui was very relieved that at least he did not teach a white-eyed wolf. Yes, in Bai Sui's view, this is human nature. After all, if his apprentice really never mentioned the village, thought that what he did was right and therefore ignored the village, Bai Sui would still think he was a white-eyed wolf. After all, before Bai Sui's teaching, he had always relied on the village's aid to survive. Although he lived a bad life, the village at that time was not like now, where it was good to have a stutter. If such a life-saving grace can be easily forgotten, even if he is now loyal to himself, it will become a disaster in the future. On this day, Iwai Koji prepared the collected medicine in Bai Sui's yard as usual. Bai Sui called him into the house and pointed behind him, "Sit down." "Yes, master," Iwai Koji agreed immediately. Bai Sui did not keep the topic in suspense and went straight to the point. "I see that you have been worried for a while. It should be related to the village. Tell me, what do you think?" This, Iwai Koji was stunned for a moment. Although he was mentally prepared when he entered the room, such a sudden question also made his mind confused. Looking up at Bai Sui's face, Iwai Koji gritted his teeth and said, "Master, I know this is a problem of the village, but, can you?" Bai Sui looked directly into his eyes, waiting for him to continue. Iwai Koji finally said stumblingly, Can you please help the village again, master?" Without your guidance and teaching, the village will definitely not survive the next crisis. In the end, he gave Bai Sui a standard kneeling. Bai Sui helped him up. Since you know that the problem is not with me, why do you want me to be responsible for the safety of the village? Why? Why should I do this? What's the benefit for me? Bai Sui asked questions one after another, and did not want to wait for an answer, so he continued. You also know that this is unreasonable, so you have been holding it in your heart and not saying it out loud, right? Yes, Koji lowered his head. You don't have to act like this. I know the reason why you do this is because the village helped you when you were most helpless, allowing you to survive in hunger and cold, so you want to repay the village, right? Repaying a favor is not wrong, so why should you feel ashamed? It's because you are not prepared to repay the village with your own strength, but to ask for help from another person who has done you a favor, which makes you depressed. And what is the root cause of your depression? Do you understand now? Bai Sui is still teaching his apprentice. Koji raised his head with thought in his eyes. It's because I'm not doing my best. But I don't have the ability to help the village. Bai Sui chuckled. What? Must the weak be helped? Must the strong help others? Remember what I taught you. God helps those who help themselves. As a weak person, when you are weak, instead of trying to make yourself stronger, you rely on others for your safety. Isn't this a way to die? As for what you said, you don't have the corresponding ability to help the village, then I want to ask you, what is enough power to help the village? Can you tell me this? I know, I will learn from you to the best of my ability and make myself stronger. I don't know how much ability I can have to help the village, but as long as I keep making myself stronger, I will be able to help the village one day. There was a gleam in Koji's eyes, and he became more and more determined and clearer the more he spoke. Bai Sui nodded. Very good, it seems that you understand, but, to become stronger, you don't have to learn from me. Do you remember what I said? Unite all the people who can be united. Although the village is now openly doing nothing about a future crisis, there will always be people who are worried, like you, who want to do something for the village. You can unite them, become stronger and progress together. Those who share the same goals and work together with you will be the new force when the future crisis comes. And you still do your best, so you will not regret it regardless of success or failure, unless you don't do your best in the process. Bai Sui stood up and walked to Koji's side, patted him on the shoulder. As for what to do specifically, think about it yourself. You don't need to come to me tomorrow. Give yourself more time to think about it. When you have an idea, you can tell me. If you need it, I can give you some reference opinions. Yes, thank you for your guidance, teacher. Koji left with a straight body, completely unlike the sluggishness during this period. Watching his apprentice leave, Bai Sui made himself a cup of tea and tasted it carefully. Although what was said above is correct, it is actually because Bai Sui has made up his mind to ignore it. After all, he is only an apprentice, not an ancestor, and he cannot sacrifice himself because of his kindness. Bai Sui thinks that he has reached the top moral standard of the era. If he is above that, he will be a saint, which is not what Bai Sui can achieve, nor what Bai Sui pursues. Although it is said that immortals value life and ghosts value death, it only values life, and does not mean that death is not allowed. After all, death is also a part of the Tao. What's more, Bai Sui understood in his previous life that he should respect the fate of others and let go of the plot of helping others. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 28: The Mountain Clan. On this side, the village lives a normal life. On the other side, the daimyo of Cheyenne Sakuni was extremely annoyed. You bunch of rubbish. It's been so long, and you can't even do such a small thing. As he said that, the daimyo casually threw the cup on the table in front of him, and it fell to the ground and broke into pieces. The guards kneeling below let the wine in the cup spill on their bodies, not daring to complain, and even buried their heads even lower. After venting his dissatisfaction, the daimyo looked at the people behind the table. Master Nagata, it was your people who found out that the team of guards were not killed by robbers after checking. I wonder if you have found out after so long. The person being asked was the head of the Nagata family, Nobufuku Nagata, a local ninja family in Cheyenne Sakuni and a representative of the pro-daimyo faction. The pair of daimyo guards killed by Kashiwasu were immediately reported to the daimyo after their bodies were discovered. Originally, the daimyo heard from his subordinates that he might have been killed by bandits. Although he was angry, he was helpless. After all, the other party was a strong man who had been wreaking havoc in the country of iron for more than 10 years. If the other party really took action, the daimyo really didn't think that the other party would give him face. When his subordinates reported the matter, Nagata Nobufushi was discussing matters with the daimyo. In order to show his sincerity, he took the initiative to say that he could let his own clansmen go to investigate. If it was really that group of bandits, he could teach the other party a lesson. If someone was willing to come forward, the daimyo naturally had no reason to stop him, so Nagata Nobufushi arranged for a family elder, Nagata Iji, who came with him, to go to the scene to investigate. After arriving at the scene, Nagata Iji judged that the scene had been disguised to a certain extent after some investigation. However, the scene still left such a distinct feature after being disguised. He thought that it was very likely that someone had framed him. It was just that the heads of those guards were pierced with samurai swords and their brains were damaged, so Nagata Iji suspected that this was professionally arranged by professionals for ninjas. Elder, this scene was obviously arranged. It's obviously not an ordinary robbery. There must be something wrong here, a middle-aged ninja reported to Nagata Iji. Nagata Iji smiled and nodded, stroking his goatee. Very good, Duoman, your observation is very careful. Look here, their brains are not only pierced by knives, but also have traces of human damage. It is obvious that they are collecting information on ninjas. Even if the other party is not a ninja, they have dealt with ninjas before. Huh? After further exploring the brains of the dead, Nagata Iji found the difference inside. Although the brain of the peddler looks no different from that of the others, after covering it with chakra, it can be clearly felt that it has been impacted by some kind of force. Although it looks like the brains of these people are damaged on the outside. However, the brains of those samurai were damaged from the outside to the inside. From some relatively intact brain fragments, it can be found that they were only chopped up, and the internal quality was not damaged. This person's brain was destroyed from the inside out. It looks like a torture technique used by a certain ninja clan. This is a trauma left after the brain memory was forcibly read. Nagata Iji told the clan members around him about his discovery, and at the same time, he thought quickly in his mind, as if he had grasped some key points. Although he had some guesses in his mind, Nagata Iji did not show them, and continued to explore as if nothing had happened, trying to get more clues. Soon, the Nagata clan members completed their own inspections and stood behind Nagata Iji. Seeing that there were no more clues, Nagata Iji waved his hand to signal the servants of the daimyo to clean up the scene. The people of the Nagata family did not communicate too much with those people, and went directly to the location of the daimyo's mansion. The ninja's foot speed is very fast. Although it takes ordinary people half a day to walk, for a ninja who can run on tree branches, it only takes 1 hour, and they quickly rush back before the dinner at the daimyo's mansion. After returning, Nagata Iji found an opportunity to have a conversation with the head of the Nagata clan. What? After saying this, the head of the Nagata clan lowered his voice. You mean, this incident was most likely done by the Yamanaka clan? How is this possible? There is no reason. Ignoring the clan leader's distress, Nagata Iji continued to report his findings. Yes, I found traces of a secret technique on the businessman's brain. And after our investigation of the scene, we found traces of arrangements. Although those people had many scars on their bodies, some of them could be judged to be added after death. Those people actually died neatly. Hearing this, the head of the Nagata clan nodded. Yes, from this point of view, there was at least one master who took action and killed those people quickly. Those who could kill such a group of people in one breath and leave them no chance to resist are indeed not ordinary robbers. I have also heard about the bandits in the Iron Country. The leader is a member of a poor ninja clan. The reason why he has not been wiped out by the Iron Country for so many years is that he can find the opponent in advance and escape through his family's secret technique. His own strength is not too strong. It is easy to kill these people, but if he is as ruthless and sharp as you said, he really can't do it. The elder of the clan, Nagata Iji, also echoed, yes, based on the above points, I judged that it was the Yamanaka clan who did it. After all, the Rhino Shikacho clan is the top clan in the entire ninja world, not to mention in the Fire Country. For such a large clan, it is not easy to cultivate such a master, and it should not be difficult. The head of the Nagata clan frowned. That's right, but why did they do this? There is no reason for them to attack such civilians. And they also pretended to be like this. Nagata e.g. hesitated for a while. I do have a guess, but I have no basis, just for the reference of the clan leader. Chief Nagata was a little surprised. Oh? Please tell me what you think, elders. After observing the scene, I feel that there won't be many people arranging it, probably around 2 to 3 people. Considering that the Aino, Deer, and Jo families advanced and retreated together, it is possible that there were 3 people. Although there were many omissions in the arrangement of the scene, it was obvious that they had studied it specially. It doesn't look like it was done by a qualified ninja, but rather a novice. So I guess that this might be a young genius from one of the 3 clans, walking in the ninja world for the first time. Compared to the war-torn Fire Kingdom, they chose the relatively peaceful land of Rice. This way, they can guarantee the safety of their children to a certain extent, while allowing them to train at the same time. Chapter 29 Security. It's just that, although this explains their origins, it doesn't explain their motives. After all, the other party is just a group of ordinary people. There is no need for them to take action. Patriarch Nagata was still a little confused. The clan elder Nagata e.g. showed disdain. What else could it be? Those so-called samurai usually rely on the name of the daimyo to show off their power. Those 3 people are very likely to be dressed up, disguised as civilians or something. As long as they are not obviously dressed as ninjas, isn't it obvious what the daimyo's servants will do? Rude remarks or other reasons are not important. The key is that what they do later can match up. In order to quickly understand the situation, the members of the Zhongshanzhong clan read the memory of the merchant, and then learned that the team was directly under the daimyo. In order to avoid trouble, they disguised themselves as robbers. The clan leader nodded in approval. That's right, haha, you still see it clearly, elder. The key now is how we report to the daimyo. For a group of civilians, the daimyo has no need to offend the 3 clans, not to mention that there are some things that cannot be explained. In this case, we don't need the geniuses of these 3 big clans. The clan elder Nagata e.g. also agreed. At the dinner later, we will say that someone did frame us, but those people were ninjas, and important information at the scene has been intentionally destroyed. This way, we can show our abilities without offending Aino Shikacho. The clan leader did disagree. There are foreign ninjas causing chaos in the Iron Country, and they directly killed the daimyo's guards. Doesn't this make us ninjas seem incompetent? How can we do this? The clan elder did not care. We were severely damaged by the Feathered clan before, and we even relied on the daimyo to recruit doctors. We can't hide these things, so we might as well take this opportunity to admit our incompetence and ask for some benefits from the daimyo to develop ourselves. This kind of trade-off between substance and face could only make the clan leader himself distressed. After the report, the clan elder took his leave. As a result, until now, 3 months have passed. Without the assistance of ninjas, the samurai under the daimyo have searched for 3 months without finding any traces of the enemy. Instead, they found many savages and bandits that they had ignored before in the territory of Shinshigo, which can be regarded as a wave of income for the daimyo. After 3 months of chaos, the daimyo has given up the idea of continuing to search. Now he is just making a last struggle, and at the same time, he is throwing the problem to his subordinates to save some face for himself. In fact, the Nagata family really searched during these 3 months. It was not that they wanted to please the daimyo, but they wanted to establish some friendship with the Aino Shikacho through the so-called ninja genius. After all, their entire Shinshigo ninja clan was severely damaged by the Ui clan, and now they are in a weak period. If they can find a big backer, at least they don't have to worry about the danger of extinction during this period. However, the so-called young genius was just their own imagination, and Bai Sui has not left the small village during this period. Therefore, although the ninja family of Shinshigo did find some foreign ninjas, they were not what they wanted to find. And today, this banquet in the daimyo's mansion can be said to not only represent the daimyo's giving up, but also foreshadow the ninja clan's giving up. After all, such a large-scale action is not small, and it is not a big deal. It can be said that the cannon has not hit the mosquito, but it has lost the lady and the soldiers. In this way, without the knowledge of everyone in the small village, this crisis can be said to be completely eliminated. The calmness in the village naturally makes people think that Kashiwa is just making a fuss, and they have completely forgotten or can forget that Kashiwa and Kubota Noriyuki killed more than a dozen people for this. In addition to Kashiwa's deliberate alienation, the voices talking about Kashiwa gradually became less and less in the village, and Kashiwa began to let his apprentice take over the work of treating the villagers, and his voice was gradually weakened. Nowadays his apprentice and the samurai Kubota Noriyuki who often communicate with Kashiwa. For this reason, Kubota Noriyuki also came to talk to Kashiwa, intending to open up. Unlike Kashiwa Sui, he didn't care about it at all, and even continued to talk about opportunities with him. In my opinion, a person's achievements are made up of many aspects. It is composed of the degree of success of this thing, the magnitude of this thing, the efficiency of this thing, the length of time and the opportunities of the times. Take farming as an example. If this person is just an ordinary farmer, his farming level is just average. As for the magnitude of farming in various jobs, I won't talk about it. As for the efficiency of this thing, it depends on the grade of the farmland. As for time, the longer you do this thing, the better it is. The opportunities of the times are similar to the impact of war and peace on farming. Kubota Noriyuki was a little puzzled. After all, although what he said was right, what does it have to do with opportunities? But have you noticed that, apart from the degree of success and magnitude of this matter, which can be chosen by individuals, the rest cannot be chosen? As for efficiency, as I said before, it depends on the land you can find, which is not determined by people, not to mention the opportunities of the times, which are not controlled by individuals at all. The degree of success of the matter depends on personal efforts and talents, and the magnitude of the cause depends on the personal opportunities I mentioned before. Here, it should be distinguished from the opportunities of the times. After all, the former can be changed because of individuals. You see, if you want to succeed when all the influences except yourself are not conducive to yourself, how strong must you be? Kubota Jixing thought for a while and said, "Yes, you are right, but what you said has nothing to do with this matter, right?" Bai Sui shook his head and said, "No, that's because you haven't thought about it yet. You have to use it flexibly. What I said above is achievement, which can also be replaced by safety. Think about it carefully. What does the safety of the village consist of? The village's own guard force, the magnitude of the village's guard force and the overall armed forces, the efficiency of discovering the village, and the opportunities of the times." This time, Bai Sui not only said it, but also wrote it down on paper. The apprentice Iwai Koji who came into the room later did not interrupt him, but also stood aside to think. Bai Sui glanced at Iwai Koji and found that he was still frowning, as if he hadn't figured out something, so he said, "Kingsley, tell me." Chapter 30 War. Iwai Yasuji did not shirk his responsibility. "Yes, master, then I will venture to say something. The village's own protective force is easy to understand. When danger comes, all forces that can be used to resist the crisis are included. The magnitude of the village's protective force depends on the village's own preparations. The more fully prepared, the higher the magnitude, and the smaller the gap with the forces sent by the daimyo. These two are the only things the village can do. The efficiency of discovering the village depends on the power of the daimyo's subordinates, which does not depend on us. It's just that I didn't understand, master, why didn't you just say that it was a comparison with the daimyo's power? Isn't our crisis aimed at the daimyo? And I haven't figured out the final opportunity of the times." Kashiwasu nodded to indicate that it was okay. "Very good, although your thinking is still a bit one-sided, it is still good that you can think of these in a short period of time. Then I will tell you about your doubts." Kubota Kayuki, who was sitting opposite, also looked at Kashiwasu, waiting for the next words. "First, why don't I assume that the danger comes directly from the daimyo? It's very simple. The dangers we may face are originally diverse. It may be the daimyo, the robbers, the ninja clan, or even the ninja beasts. The above are just man-made disasters, not to mention natural disasters. Don't they all threaten the safety of the village? Or do you think that these are impossible to happen? But don't forget that before the daimyo sent samurai to invade the village, did anyone think of this possibility? So the arrival of danger does not change because of our thoughts. All we can do is to strengthen ourselves and respond to changes with the same attitude." Iwai Yasuji bowed his head to indicate that he was teaching. "Master, I understand. Then what is the opportunity of the times? How does it affect the village?" Bai Sui said in a relaxed tone. "Well, actually you can understand it this way. For example, the fire country suddenly declared war on the land country. This is an opportunity of the times for the village, because the land country will no longer have the energy to pay attention to the village. For another example, The Iron Country and the Land Country are at war, and the village is located at the junction of the two countries. It will be discovered by the armies of the two countries, which is also an opportunity of the times. Even some rare minerals, rare materials, etc. were suddenly discovered around the village. These are opportunities of the times for the village. In fact, to put it bluntly, large opportunities that are not transferred by the will of the village can be called opportunities of the times, and these opportunities are good and bad, but you can only passively accept them, and cannot refuse them. Koji was a little confused, but how could these things happen? Bai Sui raised his hand to interrupt. Don't think it's impossible, or let me give you another example. That is war. Now the whole ninja world is shrouded in war, but what if the war is over? Now because of the war, all countries are not very stable, and the number of peddlers has increased sharply, so villages like this can still be hidden, but in peacetime, how can the materials needed by the village be obtained? Rely on people to go out and buy? If the quantity is small, it can be concealed, but over time, the quantity is large, and it will be discovered. In addition, in peacetime, there are no more scattered daimyo troops, and there will be more people who can be dispatched, and they will find the village more quickly, don't you think? Koji still couldn't believe it, but how could the war be quelled so easily? This is just an assumption. Bai Sui glanced at him. Since you said that the war will not be quelled easily, then can you tell me how the war spread? What exactly caused the war to spread throughout the ninja world? I'm afraid that some corners will not be spared. You don't know, right? You see, you haven't considered why the war spread so quickly and so strangely. How can you determine that it will not suddenly go out? Since these are all speculations and possibilities, how do you know that it will definitely not come true? Moreover, since the concept of the ninja world came into being, the wars in the entire ninja world have been on and off, and the wars are often suddenly triggered and then ended abruptly. The cycle has been going on for hundreds of years. If you ask some older people about these, they will know something, because they themselves may have experienced more than 2 waves of wars. Think about it yourself. Kubota Noriyuki, who had been silent, now agreed. Yes, I saw this in the records of the Iron Kingdom. It said that ninjas would start a fight every few decades, and each family would suffer heavy losses each time, but they would recover after a short time. Many scholars in the Iron Kingdom have conducted research on this, but I didn't pay attention to this before, so I don't know if they have figured out anything. I see. Thank you for your advice. Yasuharu saluted the two of them. All I said above actually means the same thing, that is, heaven moves forward, and a gentleman should constantly strive for self-improvement. Only strengthening oneself is the eternal truth. What I proposed to the village before is not necessarily right. I just want the village to realize the crisis and start to save itself. But you can see that the village itself does not want any changes, but leaves everything to God's will. Of course, leaving it to God's will is not wrong. After all, man proposes, God disposes. It is very likely that you have made all the preparations, but in fact there is no enemy to attack, or even if you do your best, you still can't resist the enemy. It's just that my personal philosophy is not in line with the village. I am a person who always wants to take my destiny into my own hands. The dispute between me and the village is just a dispute of ideas, that's all. Bai Sui no longer talked about anything related to this in the village. I mentioned the ninja beast before. It was found by Bai Sui when he was collecting herbs in the mountains. It was a hedgehog with chakra flowing in its body. According to Bai Sui's perception, the chakra in the other party's body is very little, but it does exist. Considering the summoned beasts in the original plot, Bai Sui quickly understood. Originally, he wanted to find more for research, but unfortunately this hedgehog seemed to be an exception. Bai Sui never found any ninja beasts other than this one in the mountains and forests. Although the hedgehog has some intelligence, it is not much, and it cannot communicate with people like the summoned beasts in the plot. Its fighting ability is not strong either. It was eventually thrown down by an owl and fell to death. Just when the owl wanted to eat it, Bai Sui snatched it away and left a piece of meat on the spot. According to Bai Sui's exploration, the hedgehog that was killed was not special. It was just that the meat was tougher and the thorns on its body were harder. Chapter 31 Human Immortal. After the death of the hedgehog, the chakra in its body was rapidly dissipating, and no matter what method Bai Sui used, it could not be retained. About 5 minutes later, all the chakra in the hedgehog's body dissipated. Based on the principle of not wasting, Bai Sui tasted it and confirmed that there was nothing special about the ninja beast, at least this one did not contain more energy. The peaceful days passed quickly, and Bai Sui practiced hard day and night, spending more time on meditation and practice. After about 3 years, the Danzhu in Bai Sui's lower danshin finally became round and full. At this time, Bai Sui can be said to have experienced the 4 stages of matching yin and yang, gathering and dispersing water and fire, mating with dragons and tigers, and refining elixirs and burning medicine. The whole person has undergone obvious changes. The manifestations are strong digestion, elimination of diseases, clear head and sharp eyes, more energy and less fatigue, radiant complexion, full and pleasant skin, warm danshin, light and healthy body, refreshed spirit, all chronic diseases are eliminated, sweet saliva is produced in the mouth, the mood is naturally eliminated, lust is not moved, all bones are free of disease, divine light appears in the dark, and the eyes are like lightning. The danshin is completed, and the immortal fetus is nurtured. The inner realm does not go out, and the outer realm does not enter, which can prolong life. These are physical manifestations. There has also been great progress in the control of energy. The natural ki in the danshin has been used as easily as an arm. Now Bai Sui can truly show extraordinary abilities, such as starting fire in the void, rain in the clear sky, giving birth to all things, and condensing golden armor. He can even use ki to walk on water and control the wind. The sword in his hand can also control 100 steps under the action of ki. In fact, if we only talk about the lethality, replacing the sword with a steel needle or a sword ball would be more powerful, but Bai Sui did not use it to defend against the enemy, but to nourish his body. If false words are used as a weapon, the weapon will tilt even if it is a true blade. If true words are used as a weapon, the weapon will be straight even if it is not beneficial. The sword is upright and upright, which is upright. The sword is flexible but not bent, which is to advance and retreat with moderation. The sword is restrained when there is nothing to do, which is humility. The sword is unsheathed to stop evil when there is something to do, which is chivalry. The reason why Bai Sui carried a sword by his side was to show his meaning. When the dansu in danshin was perfect, the whole house was filled with fluorescent light, which meant that the villagers no longer came and went frequently, so no one noticed it. Otherwise, if someone discovered it and exclaimed, Bai Sui would be left with Taoist injuries due to the disturbance. Fortunately, there was no danger this time, but it also taught Bai Sui a lesson, mainly because he had no experience in this area before, and he had no knowledge in this area in his previous life. Thinking back, he was scared and broke into cold sweat. Another 3 months passed, and Bai Sui's danshin was stable, and his body was running smoothly. So Bai Sui began to move towards the earthly immortal and prepared to move towards the golden elixir. He controlled the true ki to circulate in his body every day, and practiced diligently day and night, running 24 hours a day. In order to prevent mistakes, during this period, Bai Sui did not actively control the natural ki, nor did he control the ki between heaven and earth. In this way, under the impact of the powerful true ki in his body, he finally moved the elixir bead in the lower danshin without damage. From bottom to top, it took a full 300 days to finally push the elixir bead into the Nuan Palace. And at the moment when the elixir bead entered the Nuan Palace, Bai Sui's whole body was emitting red light and strange fragrance. Because of the experience of achieving human immortality before, Bai Sui took precautions in advance, found a cliff top, and inserted the sword into the ground behind him to protect his body, and refused the possibility of being disturbed by people and animals. As the Danzu moved in the Nuan Palace, the closer it got to the main seat of the palace, the brighter the light around it became. From a distance, the entire mountain was covered in red light. That is, no one saw it, otherwise they would have thought that there was a wildfire. Although many wild beasts in the mountains were attracted by the red light and strange fragrance emitted by Bai Sui's sword also emitted a cold white light at this time. The wild beasts illuminated by the white light felt a great threat, and under this threat, they all took offensive or defensive postures. However, no one really attacked, and no one could resist the temptation of the strange fragrance and leave, so for a while, all the beasts froze in place. The strange phenomenon caused by Bai Sui did not last long, and gradually dissipated after about half an hour. As the strange fragrance faded, the surrounding beasts gradually retreated, and those wild beasts that would fight and hunt when they met also maintained a strange peace under the threat of the white light of the sword. These are not what Bai Sui is concerned about now. Bai Sui's primary task now is to stabilize the Dansu in the Nuan Palace. With the circulation of the true ki in the body and the control of Bai Sui's Yuanshan, the two finally stabilized the Dansu in the Nuan Palace. At this moment, Bai Sui has started from the human immortal and started to move towards the earth immortal, and has embarked on the first step of condensing the golden elixir, flying golden crystal. That is to say, Bai Sui is very young now, less than 30 years old, and cannot experience the magic of rejuvenation. Speaking of the reason why Bai Sui can practice so quickly, in his opinion, it is not because he is so talented. On the one hand, it is the benefit brought by his more than 10 years of specialization in sexual skills in his previous life. This not only saves Bai Sui more than 10 years in this life, but also allows him to cross the step of the abdication of the consciousness at the best age, so that he can take a high-level view and directly control the operation of energy in the body through the Yuanshan. Another is the specialness of this world. It can be said that this world is simply a holy place for practice. Various energies can even be felt intuitively. Excluding some of the struggles between belief and disbelief, it also saves Bai Sui the trouble of providing himself with food, but directly reaches the stage of eating ki. It is all these things that have contributed to the present Bai Sui. Of course, embarking on the path of earthly immortals has benefits not only in rejuvenation, but also in self-healing without treatment, seeing things without light, and no leakage. Because Bai Sui's practice is not strictly carried out in accordance with the Lingbao Bifa, but first in nature and then in life, he did not fully fill his soul and spirit in the step of flying golden crystal to condense the three flowers of essence, energy and spirit, and perform the action of lower danshan to reverse the upper danshan. Instead, he directly achieved it with the primordial spirit and directly controlled the true ki in the body. This is not the gathering of the three flowers, but one high and two low, which makes most of the benefits obtained by the primordial spirit. Bai Sui's primordial spirit is more powerful, and the brilliance manifested by the primordial spirit is becoming brighter and larger, even to the point where it can penetrate the body. This also allows Bai Sui, even if his primordial spirit does not leave his body, to use his power to a certain extent, which may be called spiritual consciousness. It should be known that according to the normal process, it is necessary to wait until the next stage, when the jade liquid returns to the elixir, before the spiritual consciousness is born. This is equivalent to Bai Sui reaching a stage in advance, and it will even make the subsequent practice smoother. Chapter 32 Fortress. Under the radiance of the primordial spirit, there is no need for Bai Sui to experiment or explore. Naturally, Bai Sui knows what he can do now, and the most important thing for Bai Sui is flying. Although Bai Sui can't really fly now, he can float under the joint action of spiritual consciousness and ki. Later, with the help of wind or the ki between heaven and earth, he can barely fly physically, but the speed is relatively slow, not even as fast as Bai Sui's walk. However, this is flying. This is free flight that can be carried out by oneself, which is almost engraved in the depths of people's souls. The second is spiritual consciousness. Under the premise of not letting the primordial spirit leave the body, Bai Sui's current spiritual consciousness range is 10 meters around him. Within these 10 meters, Bai Sui can mobilize the ki of heaven and earth at will, and can do almost anything except that he cannot act directly on matter. These 10 meters can almost be regarded as Bai Sui's private domain. Although he has not tried it, Bai Sui feels that he can directly disintegrate or rebound ninjutsu within these 10 meters. Now, Bai Sui can cast spells instantly. After all, as long as he wants, he can change the ki within the range according to his thoughts. Although Bai Sui does not know any spells from his previous life, the application of pure ki is enough. Of course, the 10-meter range mentioned here refers to the range in which Bai Sui's consciousness can operate. If such a field is not formed, but simply extends in one direction, it can extend 100 meters. Although the operability will take a sharp turn for the worse, everything within 100 meters can be seen by Bai Sui. It can even extend further outward, extending to 1,000 meters away, but in that range, it can only vaguely perceive a general idea, and cannot clearly see all the details. If it is the case of the soul leaving the body, all ranges will directly increase by 100 times, but it is easier to get hurt without the protection of physical support. As soon as Bai Sui thought about it, the sword that was originally stuck in the ground far away was picked up by the ki and flew straight to Bai Sui. After entering the 10-meter area, it was attracted by the spiritual consciousness, turned around, and attached directly to Bai Sui's back. Ho-ha ho-ha, ho-ha ho-ha. At this moment, even someone like Bai Sui felt happy and laughed from the bottom of his heart. The laughter echoed in the mountains and forests, and the forest that had just fallen silent was startled into flying rows of birds. In this way, using its loba-chick way of rushing, Bai Sui slowly flew back to the small village. Standing above the village, looking at the uneven houses below from a distance, Bai Sui felt a different feeling in his heart. I have been in this world for more than 10 years, but I have either been hiding in the Uzumaki clan or practicing in a small mountain village. Before, I had to survive in this chaotic world because I was unable to protect myself. Now, I can't say that I am invincible in the world, but at least I can protect myself. It's time to see this world. Bai Sui is not an impulsive person. Even if he wants to leave the village, he will not act immediately, but will make thorough preparations. The first is the arrangement of the village. After all, he has lived here for a long time and has some feelings for this place. So he gave his apprentice some instructions and entrusted some things. After all, it is unknown whether it will be useful in the end. Anyway, Bai Sui himself has a clear conscience. After that, he found Kubota Kayuki and made it clear that he wanted to leave the village and travel outside. Kubota Kayuki, who is over 40 years old, wanted to follow, but he felt that his body was no longer young, so he didn't speak in the end. So before leaving the village, Bai Sui injected a stream of earth attributed ki into Kubota Kayuki's body, which was also a parting gift to this good friend. Because Bai Sui had a premonition that the two of them would never see each other again after this separation. The news of Bai Sui's departure did not cause any sensation. Iwai Koji, the apprentice who saw Bai Sui's letter, silently took on the responsibility of village doctor. Fortunately, Bai Sui had already intended to train him before. With his many years of experience and the medical books left by Bai Sui, Baiwai village could still do it. As for the village, after Iwai Koji completely took on the responsibility of village doctor, they gradually forgot about Bai Sui. After all, what they really needed was a village doctor, not Bai Sui. As for who is the village doctor, it didn't matter. Bai Sui, who was lightly equipped, only carried a sword and a saddlebag. In the saddlebag was a set of clothes to change, a few bottles of medicine prepared in advance, and some silver money. These silver coins were gifts from the villagers to thank him after he treated them. There were 2 taels of silver and 5,400 coins, 1 tael of gold equals 50 taels of silver equals 4,000 coins. At this time, 1 tael of silver was equal to 80 coins. If all of Kushiwasa's funds were converted into silver, it would be a total of 68.5 taels. According to the current prices, the average daily wage of a person is 3 taels of silver, 1 day's food is about 1 tael of silver, and 1 day's accommodation is about 1 tael of silver, so basically 1 tael of silver can be saved. In other words, if it is purely accommodation, Kushiwasa can use this money to live for at least 70 days. After all, it is cheaper to live continuously. Kushiwasu did not go to the nearest country of fields, but to the country of iron in the west. He wanted to see this country first, which was blessed by samurai who had existed in the ninja world for thousands of years. Kushiwasu did not have any destination, but just wanted to visit this land and walk around to learn more about its customs. The small village was on the border between the two countries, so it didn't take long to reach the iron country. The reason why he was so sure was that from a distance, Kushiwasa saw a huge high-walled fortress. The fortress was built in the cliff, and there were countless samurai guarding it. Not only that, many samurai patrolling could be seen far outside the fortress, and they were obviously in a heavy mood. Kubota Kayuki had told him about the situation in the Iron Country, so Kushiwasu was not surprised, but felt that it was not easy for these samurai to survive. Kushiwasu did not cover up, and just emerged from the forest leisurely and walked towards the gate of the fortress. It was far away before, and now that I walked closer, I discovered some differences. First of all, these samurai did not wear gas helmets as in the previous life, but ordinary helmets. I think the costumes in the plot are probably modified because they suffered a loss at the hands of Hanzo. Next is the fortress, which is completely black. When I saw it from a distance, I thought it was made of earth and stone. But when I got closer, I realized that it was made of metal, with only a layer of rust-proof paint on the outside. It is at least 20 meters high and not many miles long. It is made of metal. Even if it is just a layer of coating on the outside, the materials consumed are not a small amount. Note, the currency of the Warring States period refers to the exchange rate of the Edo period in Japan. 1 tael of gold equals 50 taels of silver equals 4,000 coins. It is distinguished from the later Ninja Village era. Chapter 33, Iron Country. I think the steel fortress is the reason why the warriors of the Iron Country can maintain their neutrality. After all, there are many neutral countries in the ninja world, but the only neutral country that can survive for hundreds of years is the Iron Country. That's right, with the protection of this fortress, the ninjas will have to consume a lot of power to take down these warriors. And relying on the fortress, although the warriors do not have the ability to attack, they are more than enough to protect themselves. Just when Bai Sui was looking at the fortress, the warriors on the wall also found Bai Sui. When the other party did not make any moves, a team of patrolling warriors came forward. The visitor was not arrogant, but stepped forward to ask Bai Sui's intention. After learning that Bai Sui was a wandering doctor, he just told Bai Sui the rules of the Iron Country and let him go. It should be said that these warriors can see that this Iron Country is really good. Although Bai Sui has not really entered the country, he has already had a good impression. As he walked, the fortress in front of him was getting closer and closer, and it was getting taller and taller. After all, the height of 20 to 30 meters could not be faked. Of course, he had seen buildings of more than 100 meters in his previous life, so he would not be as shocked as the civilians here, but such a high wall that stretched for several miles or even dozens of miles was really spectacular. If he didn't want to cause any unnecessary trouble, Bai Sui would have wanted to fly directly and take a good look from the sky. After all, even Bai Sui had never seen such a building in his previous life. According to the route just mentioned by the samurai, Bai Sui went through the gate of the fortress and headed inside. The location of the high wall is the border of the Iron Country. Although there are related buildings built for these samurai, there are no villages around. After all, this is a military facility, and outsiders are naturally not allowed to contact it. Bai Sui followed the regulations and did not stay for long, but walked towards the nearest city. Along the way, Bai Sui felt the difference between the Iron Country and the outside world. It's not that life here is so rich, but that people here live peacefully. The people here have no worries about the future, no confusion about the future, even if their lives are not rich and they are very busy, but Bai Sui feels a sense of past life here for the first time in a long time. It's not that the environment here is similar, but the atmosphere here is similar. Most people don't have to worry about life and death, but just work hard to get a better life. He didn't do nothing along the way. After leaving the village, he decided not to hide himself anymore. He officially used his key to walk on the land of the Iron Country as an acupuncturist. He walked and stopped along the way. Before he reached the city, his reputation had spread to the ears of the top leaders of the Iron Country. Moreover, this place is different from other places. There are no ninjas here. Although many samurai also practice chakra, there is no systematic chakra treatment method. So people like Bai Sui immediately attracted the attention of the top leaders. They immediately sent people to inquire about Bai Sui's background. However, in this war-torn era, how much information can be searched? In addition, Bai Sui has hardly ever appeared in front of the world, so they didn't find anything, as if Bai Sui had emerged from a stone. Such a mysterious identity made the high-level officials curious, and they were all waiting for Bai Sui's arrival. Bai Sui didn't know that there were people waiting for his arrival in the city, and he still walked and pointed wherever he went according to his own pace. Of course, Bai Sui didn't provide free medical treatment along the way, but charged according to the other party's daily meal money, charging less for the poor and more for the rich. After walking all the way, he had to buy a carriage, not for his own transportation, but for carrying money. Bai Sui had thought about it. When he walked in the ninja world in the future, he would drive this car, which was filled with medical fees and food exchanged for medical fees. Now the lives of the people in the Iron Country are still guaranteed, but other people living in the war zone are not. In the future, if you encounter real difficulties, give the other party a meal. Don't ask if you can save anyone in this way. After all, it is not something that one person can do to really save them, but it is always good to be able to help others. In fact, the reason why Bai Sui is willing to spend time walking in the ninja world is because his current practice is the jade, gold, liquid dan. Daily meditation and hard practice are no longer of much help. The next step is mainly to rely on the effect of time. This is a water-grinding effort, which can only rely on the accumulation of time. So Bai Sui used this time to broaden his horizons. After all, Bai Sui had already done it in his previous life, although it was really just pure reading at that time. Now that he has the opportunity that he didn't have in his previous life, he naturally has to arrange this journey of thousands of miles. Apart from anything else, When he traveled in his previous life, Bai Sui basically used transportation, and he really didn't measure the earth well with his own legs. Although it is a pity that he is not walking on the land of his previous life now, it is also a rare experience. So Bai Sui can't adjust his pace. He relies on his own body and walks at will. Bai Sui stayed in a hotel in every village along the way, went into the mountains and forests, and didn't care whether it was a neighboring village. Anyway, he was full of heart. If he wanted to rest, he would just find a stone to meditate. And on this road, Bai Sui did not gain nothing. Not long ago, I met a warrior who was over 70 years old. Although his body was frail, his spirit was vigorous. After examining him, Bai Sui found that he had no disease, but just a little aging of normal body functions. After talking with him, he found that he had actually entered Taoism from martial arts. I started practicing swordplay at the age of 6, and have been practicing with my teacher ever since. I gradually assimilated the sword in my hand and turned it into part of myself. After that, I began to go out and use the sword in my hand to kill the unjust and correct the thoughts in my heart. I don't know when it started, but I couldn't feel the existence of kendo. At that time, I no longer sought the sword, or in other words, for me, anything could be a sword. If I wanted to kill someone, I could do it as long as I thought about it. But I always remembered my teacher's teachings, and I would practice kendo every day when I had time. Suddenly one day, I felt different. Just like I held my sword in my hand, I held myself and swung myself as a sword. At that moment, I found that I was like an outsider, watching my body move by itself, and I was just watching there. I didn't need to do anything, I just had to think, and my body would do its best according to my thoughts. Chapter 34 The Abdication of Consciousness. Bai Sui was also surprised to hear the old man's words. After all, this was a manifestation of the conscious spirit abdicating and the primordial spirit taking charge. He had heard in the past that all arts in the world could be used to enter the Tao, but this was the first time Bai Sui had seen an example like the one before him. However, I couldn't maintain that state at that time, and I naturally withdrew from it. But with that experience, I also knew how to go in the future, so I continued to pursue it. Not only that, I also embarked on a journey, fighting all the way, just to enter that realm again. On the other hand, I wanted to find fellow practitioners and hope to communicate with other fellow practitioners. It's just a pity that I didn't find any fellow practitioners after fighting all over the Iron Country. Although there were times when I was in crisis, it was often the opponent who relied on the advantage of numbers or innate divine power, but they all failed under my increasingly skilled entry. Oh, by the way, I call entering that realm entry. When entering, although my own strength did not increase, my strength was exerted to the extreme, and every bit was not wasted. My skills also climbed to the top, and I could even predict the opponent's trajectory. With such a powerful entry, I swept all the schools of the Iron Country, read the records of various schools, and found that some schools also introduced such a realm, but the names and descriptions of each school were different. When the old man talked about the past, he didn't act as domineering as he said. It was as if he was just talking about an irrelevant person. His eyes were introverted and there was nothing special about him. If Bai Sui hadn't checked his body before, he would know that his body was actually very strong, especially his heart, which was as strong as a powerful pump. His whole body was like an active volcano that had not erupted yet, and would erupt at full force as long as the other party needed it. After searching the Iron Country to no avail, I turned my attention to the entire ninja world. I didn't expect that not long after I left the Iron Country, I hit a wall in the Earth Country. The ninjas there can fly. When I just left the Iron Country, I went to the land of Taki. A clan leader there could release a kind of silk thread from his body, which was not afraid of being cut to a certain extent. Although it was more troublesome to deal with, it was easily solved with a blessing of entry. However, my approach may have touched the interests of the ninjas. I was targeted by a guy as soon as I entered the Earth Country. I can be sure that the guy did not enter that realm, because his ninjutsu obviously had flaws, but he relied on his ability to fly, and I couldn't catch up with him even if he wanted to run, and finally drove me back to the Iron Country. After recuperating in the Iron Country for a while, I set off again. This time I changed a direction and headed south to the Fire Country, where I fought with the Uchiha clan. Their clan has the legendary cursed eye. It is rumored that as long as you look at it, you will fall into an illusion. However, after I entered the realm, their powerful illusions no longer worked on me. After all, in that realm, I no longer used my eyes to observe the world. Bai Sui knew this, just like his own soul seeing things, as long as he wanted, he could observe himself from a third-person perspective. But their clan not only relies on illusions, but also has a powerful fire escape ninjutsu. Their clan leader can ignite a sea of fire with just a wave of his hand. I looked for the weakness in the opponent's ninjutsu and cut it off with a long sword in my hand, so that the fire could not get close to me. But the long sword in my hand is just an ordinary object. It has become hot after not withstanding a few ninjutsu. I know that I can't hold on for long, so after a feint, I ran away in the woods. After that, I walked in the ninja world for a long time, with wins and losses, but the only thing that made me sure was that they had not yet entered the country. Their strength lies in their power, not their realm. And you are the first person who has entered the country that I have seen in such a long time. Although it seems that you are not specialized in martial arts, I think you have also felt that realm. Can you tell me about it, old man? Bai Sui knew that this should be discovered after the other party entered his spiritual consciousness. After all, he only discovered the abnormality after the other party entered the range of spiritual consciousness. Okay, old man, you are also the first person I have ever seen who entered the Dao through martial arts, so I will talk about it. The old man found Kishiwasa on the mountain road, and the two had been talking on the rocks by the roadside. The Iron Country is located in the north of the ninja realm. The weather is cold. It is still autumn at this time, but snowflakes are already falling from the sky. These snowflakes, when they fall into the domain, disappear into nothingness. Feeling the strangeness of the domain, the old man is looking forward to what Kishiwasa will say next. How should I put it? This starts with the three treasures of the human body. Humans have three treasures: essence, ki, and spirit. Essence can be understood as the substance that makes up this body. Of course, it is divided into innate essence and acquired essence. Innate essence is the essence of reproduction inherited from parents. It acts as the root of life and the entire life activities, but innate essence needs to be constantly supplemented with substances to ensure that its essence is not depleted and to play its role. This substance is acquired essence. Acquired essence is the nutrient from food, also known as water and grain essence. Only with a continuous supplement of nutrients can the life activities of the human body be maintained. Ki is the driving force of life activities and can also be understood as a kind of energy. All life activities of the human body, such as breathing, water and grain metabolism, nutrient application, blood circulation, body fluid flow, and resistance to external evil, all rely on the gasification function to maintain. Spirit is the supreme commander of all life activities such as spirit, will, perception, movement, etc., and it is also divided into innate and acquired. The innate is the Yuan, and the acquired is the cognitive God. Yuan means nothing, fundamental, and original. The Yuan refers to the innate spirit that is born with us, which is essentially different from the acquired cognitive God and desire God that are gradually generated after birth by the mind's control of external things. The Yuan is free of thoughts and worries, and is naturally empty and spiritual. The cognitive God has thoughts and worries, and is spiritual but not empty. The old man was delighted when he heard this, and immediately realized that the theory of the Yuan was consistent with what he had said when he entered the country. He felt that what Bai Sui said was accurate, and at the same time he saw some clues from this systematic thought. The primordial spirit is the innate nature, also known as primordial nature or true nature. Because it is not a thinking spirit, it behaves like a baby, which is unaware but has feelings and agility. When entering into a state of meditation, a person is in a state of tranquility and nothingness. At this time, the breath is continuous, as if it exists and disappears, without thoughts or worries, floating in the air, and in a trance. This state is the manifestation of the primordial spirit. It is said, the primordial spirit is the intention in the heart, which is lively and active in the midst of neither stillness nor stillness. It is also said, when there are no inner thoughts, no external thoughts, and I am independent, this is called the primordial spirit. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 35 Thoughts. The relationship between the innate primordial spirit and the acquired conscious spirit is both contradictory and unified, that is, the primordial nature is subtle while the qualitative nature is prominent. In the process of people growing from childhood to adulthood, middle-aged and old age, the qualitative nature becomes more prominent while the primordial nature becomes subtler. As a result, the desire spirit will cover the primordial spirit, which is the nature of temperament prevails over the nature of the original source. If distracting thoughts are rampant, the primordial spirit will retreat, and if distracting thoughts are eliminated, the primordial spirit will appear, which is the spirit comes when thoughts stop, and leaves when thoughts move. Most people's innate primordial spirit is obscured by the acquired conscious spirit, and they think during the day and dream at night like clouds covering the moon. As a result, the primordial spirit retreats, and the conscious spirit usually takes charge. If one can be calm and unified, without thoughts or ideas, the conscious spirit will naturally retreat, and the true nature of the primordial spirit will appear. This is seeing the nature. The entry mentioned by the old gentleman before, for me, is the conscious spirit retreats, and the primordial spirit takes charge, which is the work of going against the innate nature. After hearing this, the old man closed his eyes and pondered. Although he had never come across Bai Sui's system before, he found it more and more reasonable and wonderful when he thought about it in combination with his own experience and the past 70 years. It's wonderful, it's really wonderful. I have read many sword books in the past, but I haven't seen such wonderful words. It is self-contained and yet it has everything. It takes the human body as the foundation, and goes to the root. The root becomes the trunk, and then the trunk grows branches. The branches grow and leaves emerge, and the flowers fall and fruits are produced. This time, people are used as nutrients to produce the fruit of the primordial spirit. Bai Sui was also happy. The old man sees it clearly. The old man thought for a while, I think your words are not exhaustive. Can you help me solve my doubts? I don't know what comes after the primordial spirit. Please forgive me if I am abrupt. Haha, it's okay. Bai Sui did not shirk his responsibility. This requires another concept, that is, immortals. Different from the legends of immortals in the ninja world, the second ancestors Zhonglu divided them into 5 levels, namely heaven, God, earth, man, and ghost. Among them, ghost immortals are the easiest way for the old gentleman to achieve after cultivating the primordial spirit. It can also be called the immortal, Buddha, and so on. Its essence is to continue to strengthen the primordial spirit, and wait until the physical body decays, but the true spirit is indestructible. At that time, whether it is possession or reincarnation, it is a choice, but some damage will cause some memory loss. Of course, if you don't want to lose your memory, you can also turn into a god of incense to bless one side, which may also be an option. The old man keenly grasped the key point in it. I don't know who the second ancestor Zhongli you are talking about. Such a master should not be unknown, but I have never heard of him in my visit to the ninja world. Bai Sui organized his words. This is a long story, so I'll make it short. We seek the Tao and are divided into 5 schools, the Jishin school, the classic school, the Fulu school, the Danding school, and the Hainan school. The 2 ancestors Zhong and Lu are the ancestors of the Danding school, and they pass down the golden elixir road that leads directly to the immortals. After that, the 2 discussed the Yuanshan again until the snow was knee-deep. Bai Sui watched the old man leave with emotion in his heart. Yes, in fact, in the previous conversation, although Bai Sui did not say it explicitly, he also intended to teach, but until the time of leaving, the other party did not speak, so Bai Sui could only sigh that this person had no chance. Bai Sui also knew that the other party might feel that he had gained a lot from Bai Sui and had no face to ask again, but no matter what the other party thought, he missed this opportunity after all. However, at the end, Bai Sui also realized that even if he passed part of the law to the other party, he might not be able to really understand it. Because there are some differences in cultural concepts, it is even more difficult for the other party to understand. If you want the other party to understand those laws, you must not only let the other party understand Taoism, but also let the other party understand Confucianism. After all, after thousands of years of development in the previous life, the 2 have long been integrated into the bones of the Chinese people in the previous life. One of them talks about the ideal of life, and the other talks about the ideal life. Confucianism talks about classics and pays attention to principles. Taoism talks about expediency and pays attention to flexibility. After thousands of years of complementary Confucianism and Taoism, the Chinese people pay attention to both principles and flexibility, that is, the high degree of unity of principle and flexibility, which also makes the character of the Chinese people in the previous life mostly show that they are round outside and square inside. Even the Zen Buddhism in the previous life injected the awakened Buddha nature into everyone's daily life. The people in this ninja world, their thoughts are born out of their Shinto thoughts and Buddhist thoughts. Shinto is born out of the idea that all things have spirits, which can be birds and beasts, mountains and rivers, and everything can be gods. This Shinto thought successfully helped the people of the ninja world to become civilized, but the primitive worship in it is rooted in everyone's thoughts. Although there are Buddhist thoughts as a complement, in Bai Sui's opinion, people in the ninja world only regard Buddha as another means of sacrifice, and they are more assimilated by the thoughts of Shinto. The complementary thoughts of Confucianism and Taoism are not in line with it. Even if the law is passed on to the other party, it is likely to be because of worshipping the Creator and practicing, rather than practicing for self-transcendence, which can easily go astray. All of the above are what Bai Sui thought when he watched the old man leave. Now his mind is running very fast. It doesn't take much time to integrate the ideas in his mind and innovate them. And this conversation and self-summary also made Bai Sui notice that it is extremely difficult for him to discuss Taoism with others in this world. After all, according to what the old man said, he found himself when he searched the ninja world, so what can he do when he wants to communicate with others? Of course, Bai Sui recalled the original work and suspected that Hashirama Senju was likely to have entered Taoism. After all, his wood escape seemed to Bai Sui to have some of the flavor of Yuanling. Even Hatake Kakashi is somewhat possible. After all, after observing him, Kashiwasu found that his earth escape technique was much more effective than others, and he was actually good at lightning escape technique. Then Kashiwasu had reason to suspect that the reason why his earth escape technique was so effective was because of the dog head carved on it. Kashiwasu suspected that it might be because of the pressure brought by the death of his father when he was young, which closed his heart. After that, he experienced many blows in succession. After that, the one who really accompanied him was actually his summoning dog. Later, when he reshaped his broken heart due to the death of his companion, he subconsciously took the summoning dog that comforted his heart as the core. After that, his reshaped heart showed the appearance of a summoning dog. Because chakra is a combination of spiritual and physical energy, it is also affected by the heart and spirit. Other ninjutsu are presented in energy state and may not be obvious, but the earth escape technique is a kind of materialization, so the dog heads will appear on it. Those who can reconstruct their broken hearts are all outstanding among men. Although Bai Sui suspected that the kaleidoscope also helped, the reconstructed heart might have brought him more resolute spiritual energy, which made his earth escape defense ability stronger. Chapter 36 Money Exchange. Bai Sui was still a little entangled about this, because he knew that if he wanted to cultivate the seedlings of Taoism from scratch, it would be extremely time-consuming and laborious. Because this even had to start from the language, after all, the mother tongue really affects a person's way of thinking. So if Bai Sui wanted to have fellow Taoists to discuss in the future, he had to start from scratch and cultivate a group of people whose mother tongue was Chinese, and there were also those who wanted to practice Taoism and were willing to practice Taoism, and had a heart towards Taoism. It was conceivable how much trouble this would cause. To be honest, Bai Sui didn't want to do this, and didn't want to turn himself into a teacher in a nursery. That was really not free, and it deviated from Bai Sui's idea. Bai Sui also knew that his idea was incorrect. Where is there a good thing that can be rewarded without paying? But if he asked Bai Sui to start taking care of the child now, he was unwilling, so he finally decided to take it one step at a time. If there really came such a day, he would be able to raise the child. He drove along the main road, carrying a cart of money and goods to the next village. Of course, the property in this car is not only the medical fee, but also a lot of it is contributed by the robbers on the road. Even Bai Sui found that there is already a gold exchange in this era. This was discovered by Bai Sui when he used his spiritual sense to search for a group of bandits' den. He found that there was an obviously man-made facility in a valley. Although Bai Sui did not enter it, he also took a general look through his spiritual sense. He found it was really interesting. Bai Sui waited on the road for 3 days and saw many people coming in and out. Although there are many businesses in this gold exchange, the most important one is to collect corpses, among which the corpses of ninjas account for the vast majority. The reason for waiting here is to see what they want to do with these corpses. After waiting for 3 days, I finally saw the staff of the gold exchange take action. They loaded the corpses and transported them from this gold exchange to another large underground facility dedicated to storing corpses, and placed them in different categories. After Bai Sui's spiritual sense exploration inside and outside, he found that this was a pure morgue, which made Bai Sui even more curious. After all, this is obviously a big problem. There must be a big secret inside, otherwise why do it so covertly? It takes so much trouble. Fortunately, Bai Sui didn't have to wait for too long. The morgue took action the next day. They opened a secret compartment, and there was a secret passage inside. Bai Sui had discovered this secret passage before, and there were even more than this one. Bai Sui also discovered 3 secret passages, but these secret passages all led to the distance, and Bai Sui had no way to see the end of the secret passage. Now seeing that they only entered from this secret passage and also transported most of the ninja corpses from here, Bai Sui followed all the way. Bai Sui was not afraid that he would be discovered. After all, he was hundreds of meters away from the underground team that transported the corpses. He relied on his spiritual sense to observe from a distance, and no one would suspect him. Bai Sui did not say that he would put all his energy on that team. And he continued to practice medicine all the way. At the same time, Bai Sui also roughly understood the other party's destination, which was the capital of the Iron Country. Hanging from a distance, watching their team enter the underground of the capital, Bai Sui did not enter the city, but took the excuse of the weather to rest outside the city. The team finally came to a townhouse, and then opened the secret passage to move the bodies out. At this time, Bai Sui found that it was not just this townhouse, but several surrounding towns were their people. They moved these bodies to different townhouses respectively. Bai Sui did not find another secret passage in them. It seems that the next step is purely for these people to find a way to move them away. Sure enough, not long after, about less than an hour, a team of people came and took away some of the bodies. They looked like subordinates of a noble or daimyo, but they did not wear a sign on their bodies. After that, a lot of people came one after another, all to take away the bodies. This aroused Bai Sui's interest. After all, this is the Iron Country, the home of samurai, and there are very few ninjas. Even so, there are many ninja bodies collected here, and there must be a reason. The next morning, Bai Sui pretended to be nothing and entered the capital openly. When Bai Sui was outside the city yesterday, the conspicuous carriage had already let the city know of his arrival. So after the city gate was opened, there was always a team of people waiting to welcome Bai Sui's arrival. Without rejecting their kindness, Bai Sui followed them all the way to the daimyo prefecture. All the way to the daimyo prefecture, Bai Sui also tried his best to completely separate this world from a certain island country in the previous life. After all, most of the countries in this world are on the mainland. Instead of being squeezed on a small and constantly beating island, although there are many cultural aspects that are similar, island thinking and mainland thinking are different after all. Apart from other things, the capital city and daimyo prefecture in front of us are built very grandly. In the previous life, Bai Sui also went to see the former residences of the daimyo, such as Uchiha Castle and Osaka Castle. Those so-called castles were built small and far inferior to the buildings in front of him. Yes, after all, this is on the continental shelf. The area of the Iron Country alone is almost the size of Sakurajima in the previous life. In this way, it is reasonable for various buildings to be built more grandly. The capital of the Iron Country also has its own unique style. From a distance, the daimyo mansion shimmers in the sunlight. With a sweep of his divine sense, he found that the tiles on the roof were all cast in metal. I don't know if there are too many metals in the Iron Country. Bai Sui often sees some metal creations along the way. When he arrived at the daimyo mansion, Bai Sui did not use his divine sense to explore. After all, it was impolite to do so. He simply talked to the person leading the way. Suddenly, he smelled the smell of food, so he asked the waiter who was leading the way. He learned that the daimyo had summoned the nobles in the city and wanted to entertain Bai Sui. So Bai Sui told the waiter that he had stopped eating and drinking, and thanked the daimyo for his kindness. It's not that Bai Sui wants to refuse the daimyo's invitation through the waiter now, but to give the waiter time to let him convey the message to the daimyo. Sure enough, a casual little waiter on the side quickly left after receiving the signal. Bai Sui also deliberately slowed down his pace and talked to the attendant about the customs and local conditions of the Iron Country. The daimyo and others who were preparing to host a banquet for Bai Sui were not surprised when they received the report from the servant. After all, Bai Sui had not eaten or drunk anything during the whole journey, and no one had seen Bai Sui eating or drinking in the village or town. Chapter 37, Jado Shinshu. It was precisely because of Bai Sui's extraordinary performance along the way that the Daming Prefecture paid so much attention to him. Otherwise, if he was just a doctor, no matter how good his skills were, the nobles of the entire capital would not come to greet him. After all, Bai Sui had decided not to conceal his existence, so although he did not show off deliberately, he also revealed all kinds of magic. Bai Sui's journey was entirely based on his heart, so he often arrived at villages and towns at night, and some of them wanted to ask for medical advice. Bai Sui could see things directly in the dark, so he often showed his extraordinary qualities. Since the lighting at this time was torches and candles, the brightness was often insufficient. Although Bai Sui did not care about light or dark, the villagers often had difficulty seeing things. So sometimes Bai Sui simply showed his primordial spirit and directly made the dark room light up. When seeing Bai Sui glowing all over, many villagers thought he was a god or Buddha descending to earth, and many of them worshipped him directly. In addition, since Bai Sui began to return the elixir, his body has been passively sublimated, and there is often a strange fragrance that penetrates the body. Everyone who smells it feels relaxed and happy, and some minor illnesses are directly healed. In fact, Bai Sui just felt that it was tacky. Otherwise, he could learn from the old man Chen Nan or the monk Daoji, using this oil as a carrier and rubbing the fragrance into mud balls as medicine. Maybe there will be a legend of Bai Sui rubbing mud balls in the future. As mentioned before, there are a lot of Shinto shadows in the cultural thoughts of this world, so there are countless gods of all sizes in this world. In addition, Bai Sui has seen many gods appear in the original Naruto in his previous life. The most famous ones are the god of death, the evil god, and the king of hell. And how could there be only a few gods in a complete pantheon? It's just that Bai Sui didn't see it along the way, so he didn't pay attention to it until someone worshipped him as a god, which reminded Bai Sui of this. Bai Sui originally wanted to look for it, but after learning that there was a shrine in Daimyofu, he was ready to wait until later to explore it. Soon, Bai Sui and his party arrived at the place, pushed open the sliding door, and revealed the layout inside. The entire floor was paved with tatami, but there was a thin carpet on it. There were more than 30 desks in the hall, and behind each desk was a noble kneeling. The daimyo was at the head, and the others were on both sides. Obviously, there was an empty desk prepared for Bai Sui, and Bai Sui did not do anything special and sat behind the desk. Bai Sui did not care how others sat. Anyway, Bai Sui sat cross-legged in the position. Later, he felt that the desk was a bit high, and he flew up half a foot on the air, just in the right position. Although Bai Sui's current dress did not deliberately pursue Taoist robes, it was also a white robe with large sleeves, covering himself up completely, and others could not see what was under Bai Sui's robes. Bai Sui declined the meal provided by the daimyo, and to express his gratitude, he treated everyone present. Everyone present also saw Kashiwa Sui's methods. Except for injuries such as broken limbs, Kashiwa Sui could treat all other injuries, which made everyone convinced. In fact, what everyone didn't know was that even if it was a broken limb, Kashiwa Sui was not unable to treat it, but he was unwilling to do so. After all, in his opinion, it did not belong to the category of medicine. After all, helping others with Taoism would consume one's own blessings, and Kashiwa Sui felt it was not worth it for these people. Soon, a banquet was over, and Kashiwa Sui followed the attendants to a town outside the daimyo's mansion, which was Kashiwa Sui's foothold during this period in the capital. After all, Kashiwa Sui had already stated that he would continue to travel in the ninja world, but would only stay in the capital for a while. Knowing that Kashiwa Sui would stay here for a while, the daimyo and others were not in a hurry to keep him. They believed that there was still a lot of time to get rid of it, so there was no need to rush, and it might backfire. And Kashiwa Sui did not refuse. After all, he was not staying for nothing. After all, he had treated everyone present, and it was considered his accommodation fee during this period. When he arrived at Uzumaki, his carriage had already parked there. He treated the attendant to lead the way and thanked him for leading the way. With a wave of his right hand, Bai Sui's sword flew out of the carriage and landed behind him. Out of respect, Bai Sui did not bring a weapon to the banquet, but placed it in the carriage. In addition, the mark left by Bai Sui in the sword was also a locator in the car. So Bai Sui actually knew that the carriage had arrived here a long time ago, but it was not revealed along the way. Now that he has entered the capital, Bai Sui is not in a hurry to act. After all, some things cannot be rushed. So Bai Sui meditated and practiced in the house that day, which was a summary of his journey. The next day, Bai Sui went directly to the shrine in the capital. There is no statue in the shrine. It is said that it is a place to worship gods, but in fact it is to pray for people, and there is no clear god pointing to it. Bai Sui did not see any spiritual light in the shrine. Either the gods they worshipped did not exist, or they were not pious and no corresponding gods sent down spiritual light. Bai Sui, who had no harvest, went to his other goal. Even if Bai Sui did not use his spiritual sense to search, he felt that someone was following him. He knew without guessing that it was arranged by the daimyo and his gang. Anyway, he did not have any shameful activities, so Bai Sui did not care much. After all, he was a guest in someone else's house, and it was normal for people to watch him. Bai Sui's destination was a Buddhist temple, and he could see the Honganji on the mountain gate from a distance. Bai Sui went in and talked with the abbot of the temple. He learned that this temple was the inheritance of the Jado Shinshu sect and believed in a principle called the other power original wish. This principle said that one's own practice was the original wish, and the other power referred to the grace of the Buddha. Only when two conditions were fully met could one become a Buddha, and they had almost no precepts. In his previous life, Bai Sui had some understanding of Buddhist thought, but he knew more about Zen Buddhism, not the Pure Land Buddhism. Moreover, Bai Sui always felt uncomfortable when he heard the abbot talk about his power. After all, in his previous life, there were already many traces of Zen Buddhism in the spiritual thoughts of the Chinese. Zen Buddhism advocates that the mind is pure, the Buddha nature is inherent, and enlightenment does not require external seeking. It abandons the interpretation of words and goes straight to the source of the heart. It believes that in the self-nature, all dharmas are seen. The self-nature of all dharmas is called the pure dharma body. All wisdom of prajna is born from the self-nature, not from the outside. If you know your self-nature, once you hear the words, you will be enlightened and suddenly see the true nature. It also proposed the sudden enlightenment idea of becoming a Buddha in this body. Now looking at the thoughts of the Pure Land Buddhism, Bai Sui discovered a difference. Chapter 38 is temporarily blocked, and is still under negotiation and modification. Fortunately, this part does not affect the main storyline. I will try to unblock it while ensuring the original content. If it is unblocked, I will send a public chapter notification as soon as possible. If this causes you discomfort in reading, the author once again sincerely apologizes to you, ORZ. Chapter 38, Action. The abbot of Honganji Temple had an unhappy expression on his face. You say so, but it's because you haven't practiced it yourself. Most of us practice this way. All the abbots in history have been reborn in the Pure Land, so there's no problem. You have this doubt, but it's because you don't understand enough. The Buddhist scriptures will not lie. It's just because you haven't embarked on the path to becoming a Buddha yet. And who are you to dare to question the Dharma taught by the Buddha? This is a great disrespect to the Buddha, and you should fall into the Avasi hell forever. Bai Sui was indeed unhappy. Haha, that's a big accusation. You said you would fall into the Avasi hell forever, so you will fall into the Avasi hell forever? Those who go to the Avasi hell are those who commit the 5 heinous crimes. When have I ever committed the so-called 5 heinous crimes? How can a monk commit such a crime of tongue and curse people to go to hell? The abbot's expression was not looking good at this time. I made a mistake. You are slandering the Dharma, and you should go to the hell of suffering. Bai Sui laughed. Ha ha ha, well said, those who slander the Dharma will go to the hell of constant suffering. It is said in the Contemplation Sutra, some sentient beings do bad deeds, the 5 heinous crimes and the 10 evil deeds, and are full of evil. Such fools should fall into the evil ways because of their evil deeds. I wonder if the abbot still remembers what the 18th vow is among the 48 vows? If I become a Buddha, sentient beings in the 10 directions will sincerely believe and wish to be born in my country. Even if they only recite my name 10 times, if they are not born, I will not attain enlightenment. Except for those who commit the 5 heinous crimes and slander the Dharma. Yes, it is said in the Buddhist scriptures that people who commit the 5 heinous crimes will not enter the Pure Land. I wonder what the abbot said before? What he said was that the Buddha is merciful, and as long as you recite Amitabha Buddha, even those who commit the 5 heinous crimes and the 10 evil deeds will go to the Pure Land as long as they are pious in their hearts. Isn't this slandering the Dharma? Isn't it that you will go to the hell of constant suffering? The abbot said hurriedly. You are talking nonsense. My Buddha is merciful. All those who have lost their way will be given a chance. As long as they bow their heads and recite the Buddha's true name sincerely, my Buddha will guide them. This is my Buddha's mercy, and it is Amitabha's preferential treatment for believers like me." At the end, the abbot almost roared. Haha, that's not right. Bai Sui really didn't care about the other party's attitude. Anyway, the other party couldn't beat him. Isn't it Amitabha who made the great vow? What I just said is the 18th vow, right? If he violated his great vow, how could Dharmazang become a Buddha? If he didn't become a Buddha, how could he save you to the Pure Land? Or did the Buddha not violate the great vow and did not guide those who committed the 5 heinous crimes? That means you are lying, which means you are going to hell. I don't know which one it is. Nonsense. You are slandering the Buddha, which is disrespectful. Come. Buddhist monks, take this man down. At the end, the abbot shouted to the outside, and it seemed that he was not going to argue with Bai Sui anymore. Since the other party was going to use force, Bai Sui knew that the other party didn't want to reason with him anymore, and he felt bored. You know, in his previous life, Bai Sui chatted with those big monks. Even if the two sides disagreed, the other party would not turn hostile and drive him away. It can only be said that the abbot in front of him has not practiced enough. Bai Sui is certainly not a person who will not fight back. Since the other party has taken the initiative, Bai Sui will not be polite. But he didn't expect that this temple also has something. Although the abbot in front of him is just an ordinary person, there are many good monks among the recruited soldiers. A team of 12 people, all of whom have chakra in their bodies, even formed a formation in the courtyard. Wisdom Illumination 12 monks, connect their chakra with others, and condense into an Amitabha Buddha condensed by chakra. This Buddha is 5 meters tall and radiates light all over his body. Bai Sui feels the chakra contained in the Buddha and his face is also solemn. While Bai Sui ignored him, the abbot had already run behind the monks. After confirming his own safety, he started to make noise again. See? This is the power that Amitabha Buddha has given us. You who slander the true Buddha, repent under the wisdom of the Buddha. As long as you repent and sincerely worship Amitabha Buddha in your heart, my Buddha will let you go to paradise and let you understand my Buddha's compassion. It's rare that the other party is so old and still has such a loud voice. With a Buddha in front of him, he has a lot of credibility. No wonder. Bai Sui knows the source of chakra, so how could he be bewitched by him? Although some believers who came to the temple to worship have knelt down, how can this kind of chakra aggregate make Bai Sui surrender? It's really ridiculous. This Buddha is just condensed by chakra. It's just a different kind of ninjutsu. Oh, I know. No wonder you're talking nonsense. It turns out that the light emitted by this Buddha is an illusion. It was Bai Sui who felt the mental fluctuations from the light of the camera itself and knew that it was probably an illusion. However, Bai Sui had already embarked on the path of earthly immortals. The inner scene did not go out and the outer scene did not come in. Such illusions could not disturb Bai Sui at all, which was why Bai Sui did not discover the abnormality in the first place. Seeing that the illusion was ineffective, the abbot stopped talking nonsense and ran away quickly, as if he wanted to stay away from the battlefield to avoid being affected. For such ordinary people, Bai Sui didn't care whether the other party stayed away, not to mention that he had to give time for those who knelt on the ground to evacuate, so he let the other party stay away. Perhaps because he felt that the distance was enough, the Buddha in front of him began to move. You must know that this 5-meter-high Buddha is the height of a sitting Buddha. Now that it is moving, even the airflow it drives will make the cheeks of people around him hurt. Looking at the huge fist with a diameter of nearly 1 meter in front of him, Bai Sui released his spiritual consciousness and let it gather the ki around him 6 or 7 meters in front of him. A wall of earth with a metallic luster rose from the ground. This earth wall was reinforced with a large amount of golden ki, so the whole wall showed a metallic color. Not only that, after the huge Buddha's hand entered Bai Sui's domain, Bai Sui's spiritual consciousness quickly analyzed and contacted it. Although the Buddha's hand in front of him was filled with a lot of chakra, it was not as loose as its own structure. In Bai Sui's view, it was just a ball of catkins. It looked like a big ball, but in fact there were gaps inside. So Bai Sui immediately tore it apart and decomposed it, turning the Buddha's hand into countless chakras and distributing it in the domain. Feeling the loss of a large amount of chakra, the 12 monks who formed the formation were surprised. Obviously they did not expect things to develop like this. The abbot in the distance was even more bitter. He had felt that Bai Sui was not an ordinary person before, and he must have some tricks, But he did not expect such a thing to happen. Bai Sui realized that the opponent was vulnerable, so he removed the earth wall in front of him. Chapter 39 Harvest. Seeing the earth wall that was blocking Bai Sui collapsed, the abbot thought it was defeated by the Buddha's hand. Although he was surprised that there was no collision sound, his heart was slightly relieved, thinking that there was still a chance. After all, before, those people on the periphery only saw that the Buddha's hand hit Bai Sui and collapsed when it encountered the earth wall. Now seeing that the earth wall also collapsed, he thought it was offset. After all, they were not the 12 monks, and they could not see the chakra, and they did not know what happened. In fact, even the 12 monks were a little confused now. They only knew that the chakra of the Buddha's hand disappeared inexplicably without knowing why. Looking at the motionless Buddha who was frozen in place, the abbot could not help shouting, asking them to attack Bai Sui. Bai Sui found that his domain restrained ninjutsu again, and he also took courage. He flew into the air and took the initiative to fly towards the direction of the Buddha. All the bodies of the Buddhas that entered the domain fell apart, and the entire Buddha shrank rapidly. Unlike the gradually fading chakra Buddha, Bai Sui's body was gradually glowing because of the large amount of chakra. From afar, it looked like Bai Sui was walking in the air with infinite light all over his body. Wherever he went, even the Buddha would bow his head and lower his eyes. Many of the believers who had kneeled down to worship the Buddha before now turned to kneel down to worship Bai Sui. Seeing that the Buddha was shrinking more and more, and his height was less than 3 meters, the 12 monks finally thought of a solution. The monks shouted, "Return to the Tibetan, infinite light." 12 The Buddha, who was originally bright and shining, immediately dimmed, and not only that, but also turned into dark black in the blink of an eye, looking like a black jade sculpture. The transformed Buddha was smaller than before, and had become just over 2 meters tall. Perhaps because he knew that he had shrunk seriously, he finally stood up from the lotus platform. The black Buddha who stood up at least recovered his height of 3 meters, saving a lot of momentum. At the same time, Bai Sui also found that this black Buddha was indeed different. Its chakra was more condensed. Although it would still be dismantled by Bai Sui's consciousness, it would not collapse at the first touch. So for the sake of safety, Bai Sui naturally could not wait for the opponent's attack, but was ready to take the initiative. Before, a large amount of chakra had been accumulated in the area around him. Anyway, it was of no use to him, so Bai Sui decided to try his own guess. Under the guidance of the consciousness, a large amount of chakra began to gather, and all of it was converted into wine to spray towards the black Buddha. You should know that now these chakras are almost half of the previous big Buddha, and its power can be imagined. In other words, Bai Sui did not come here to kill people today, so he did not convert it into fire, otherwise he would have directly created a sea of fire. Of course, the huge chakra was not a decoration. Even if it was just converted into wind pressure, it was not even a wind blade, and it directly blew down a Buddhist temple behind it. As for the black Buddha, it was directly dispersed when the 12 monks were blown away. Of course, a temple like Hongyanji that has stood for hundreds of years naturally would not have only 12 monks. The abbot who saw things were not going well had already taken advantage of the time just now to run away. At this moment, the rest of the monks have been summoned to prepare for dealing with Bai Sui. Before, Bai Sui allowed the other party to prepare because he was interested in the big Buddha, but now it is different. Bai Sui is not a fool and will not let himself be in danger all the time. So the whole person flew into the air, flying higher and higher, until he reached a height of about 30 meters, and the whole temple was in sight. Naturally, he could see the actions of the monks intuitively. Under the coordination and command of the abbot, the monks injected chakra into the stone lamps, pagodas, and various stone statues in the temple according to the instructions. With the injection of these chakras, a chakra formation was gradually formed. From the sky, the stone statues that gradually lit up below formed a big character. As the character gradually appeared, the entire temple ground gradually filled with tiny scripture characters. Upon closer inspection, it turned out to be the 3 Pure Land Sutras. Bai Sui felt threatened by the large formation in front of him. Although he didn't know its specific function, Bai Sui obviously wouldn't wait for the other party to complete it. Bai Sui used his key sword for the first time in a long time. A bright white key sword came out of his mouth and went straight to the stone statue closest to him below. The monks below naturally discovered Bai Sui's actions. They pressed their left hand on the stone lion and swung their monk sticks in their right hand to smash the white light. However, This sword energy that had been nurtured by Bai Sui for many years was much sharper than the monks imagined. It not only directly cut off the metal long stick in his hand, but also directly cut off the head of the stone lion. Not only that, after confirming that the stone lion was destroyed, he went straight to the next monk. In just a few breaths, more than a dozen nodes of the stone statue were destroyed. Bai Sui saw it clearly in the air. At first, the breaking of several nodes did not affect the deployment of the formation. When Bai Sui completely cut off one edge of the formation was really affected. The scriptures that were originally spreading rapidly around have now stopped, and the light on them has begun to flicker. As Bai Sui's key sword quickly moved, the originally bright nodes below have gradually extinguished. Not only that, in order to prevent the people below from playing any tricks, Bai Sui even controlled the key sword to chop down the halls to prevent them from playing any tricks in places where Bai Sui could not see. Of course, Bai Sui came here for communication and exploration, so he did not hurt anyone, and even deliberately avoided the crowd. Therefore, only a few monks who were blind and wanted to intercept the key sword with their bodies were seriously injured, and the rest were fine. As Bai Sui's key sword moved, the originally solemn and magnificent temple became a ruin, and the entire ground seemed to have been plowed. However, even so, Bai Sui did not find any gods appear, which made Bai Sui feel sorry. Of course, those monks were not stupid. When they found that Bai Sui had no intention of hurting anyone, they stopped resisting. After they dug the abbot out of the rubble, they surrendered to Bai Sui collectively. Looking at the monks sitting down in front of him, Bai Sui did not make things difficult for them. He just took some items from the temple as compensation. Bai Sui, who had come alone, caught up with a carriage on his way back. The carriage was full of items that the abbot had taken the initiative to compensate Bai Sui. 2 large boxes of gold coins, 10 large boxes of silver coins, and a large box of jewelry. As for the copper coins, there were too many, so Bai Sui did not accept them. But Bai Sui did not care about these. The real harvest was the 5 book boxes, which were filled with books and scrolls collected from various temples. Chapter 40, Talents of the Immortal Clan. These 2 boxes of books have everything in them, and of course they are not unique copies. After all, what Bai Sui values is the content and knowledge inside, not to collect them as unique copies. So when he encounters a unique copy, Bai Sui will directly copy it. In Bai Sui's domain, dozens of ink balls float, and he directly copies it in multiple threads. Although this Honganji was built outside the capital due to its size, it is very close to here, so Bai Sui's previous actions here have long been reported back to the Daimyofu. At this moment, no one dared to stop Bai Sui, who was driving a carriage. Some people even wanted to help drive the car, but they were declined by Bai Sui. Back at his residence, Bai Sui ignored the money and walked directly into the house with the boxes of books. Bai Sui felt that he was becoming more and more lazy. Since he had this spiritual consciousness domain, Bai Sui was less and less willing to do it himself. Look, these 5 boxes of books and scrolls were engulfed by the key driven by the spiritual consciousness, floating behind Bai Sui. After roughly browsing these books, Bai Sui picked up one of the scrolls. Among them was a training scroll that was asked from the abbot of Honganji Temple. No, it was the abbot who insisted on giving it to Bai Sui. Unfolding the scroll, Bai Sui carefully read the contents. About half an hour later, Bai Sui put down the scroll in his hand. After taking a sip of tea, Bai Sui sorted out the gains just now in his mind. These monks call chakra the talent of the immortals, and the method of practice is to temper the body and practice Buddhism. Tempering the body is to strengthen the body, and practicing Buddhism is to cultivate the spirit. The combination of the two can produce the talent of the immortals, which is similar to the combination of physical energy and spiritual energy to produce chakra. The reason why the abbot does not have the talent of the immortals is because he practices another system. This system is to specialize in the spirit and put all your energy into the spirit. This can be said to be the secret of the abbots of all generations. The reason for this is that a certain abbot discovered that when the spirit reaches a certain level, after death, the soul can stay in the world for a short time and become a Buddha body. After that, the Buddha body can use the talents of the immortals in the whole temple to exert great power, and even directly use these powers to go to the Pure Land. It is also because there have been several such abbots that they can spread believers all over the ninja world and collect wealth from everywhere. Bai Sui knew that those so-called Buddha bodies should be the so-called Yin Shen Guixiu, which is the current soul realm of Bai Sui. Of course, the realm is roughly the same, and the specific power is different. After that, Bai Sui read all the scrolls related to the practice of Honganji one by one, and gained a lot of useful knowledge. Of course, Bai Sui knew that these must not be all, and there must be some things that are not on paper, but Bai Sui is not greedy. With these gains, he is very satisfied. There are many contents in these scrolls that are very inspiring to Bai Sui, such as those curse seals. In the development of the ninja world, as people use this power, some people gradually discovered the difference in it. When some ninjutsu is used, chakra always flows in a specific way. According to this flow, people have summarized the seals and curse seals, but compared with the seals, this kind of curse seal is more private and is only in the hands of some big families and masters. The reason for this is that compared with the popular seals, the use of curse seals requires higher requirements for people. According to the records in the scroll in front of us, the carving of the curse seal requires extremely high control over chakra. Whether it is applied to a thing or an object, it is necessary to ensure that the chakra cannot damage the other party, and the curse seal can be accurately carved on it. And unlike the instant release of ninjutsu, the curse seal is often separated from the chakra source, so it is necessary to inject a sufficient amount of chakra into it while carving the curse seal. Often the more functions you want to achieve, the greater the power, and the more chakra you need to inject. Different curse seals often have different requirements for the attributes of chakra, which makes it possible for some curse seals to conflict, which is a greater test of the skill of the person carving. The large formation used by the monks of Honganji before was actually carved in advance using the curse seal. Through the connection between these curse seals, the chakra of everyone is gathered to form a barrier. If the barrier is formed, it will affect both the inside and outside at the same time. It can produce a kind of repressive force inside and extract the chakra of everyone in the barrier. It will form a kind of protection outside, and even be able to rebound ninjutsu within a certain degree. These are the records that Bai Sui found in the scroll. Although Bai Sui found after trying that neither his true ki nor his ki could directly condense the curse seal, this also opened up Bai Sui's thinking. So during the next period of time in the capital of the Iron Country, Bai Sui would sometimes go out to practice medicine during the day, and return to his residence to study the curse seal at night. Time passed quickly, and 3 months passed in the blink of an eye. During this period, in addition to practicing medicine during the day, Bai Sui also collected a lot of information about the ninja world, which would be of great help to his subsequent travels. With those completed curse seals as references, Bai Sui remembered the cloud seals in his previous life. Although he had not studied them, he had also read some related scriptures and books such as the 5 Emperors' True Text of Heavenly Suppression, the Cloud Seal Sutra of Saving People, and the Great Law of Shanking Lingbao. But for some reason, the cloud seals in the previous life were also ineffective. Bai Sui had no reaction after using ki to condense cloud seals. However, with the reference of the curse seal and cloud seal, Bai Sui has not gained nothing in the past 3 months. Thanks to the high-speed operation of the divine consciousness, Bai Sui finally successfully discovered an effective rune after countless experiments. It was winding and looked like a dragon. Bai Sui looked at the rune in front of him and thought of the bird and insect body in the previous life. Of course, unlike the seal characters in the previous life, the rune in front of him has 95 strokes. As for the meaning of the rune in front of him, Bai Sui couldn't say it. Because when it condenses, it can store ki, condense ki, and release ki. Although Bai Sui has condensed this rune now, he doesn't know what its function is. He is still in a state of groping. Even Bai Sui feels that there may be more than one rune in front of him, but Bai Sui doesn't understand it yet, so there is no way to split it. As the saying goes, everything is difficult at the beginning. Bai Sui believes that he will figure out something after starting this. Bai Sui feels that he has stayed here for a long time, and it is time to embark on a journey again. Chapter 41 Travels. In view of the power that Kashiwasa had shown in Honganji before, the daimyofu wanted to keep him but did not dare to use force. After discovering that Kashiwasa had made up his mind to leave, he did not dare to stop him, and even gave him a lot of money for him to use on the road. In fact, the reason why Kashiwasa had to live in the capital of the Iron Country for 3 months was because of the gold exchange office he had discovered before. During these 3 months, Kashiwasa had already gotten a general idea of the situation of the gold exchange office. In essence, it was jointly established by the daimyo of various countries, and later many other nobles and forces joined. At first, it was just an institution established to study ninjas and chakras. Later, The current gold exchange office gradually developed, and gradually changed from the daimyo hunting ninjas to the daimyo using money to make ninjas fight each other. In order to prevent the ninjas from discovering the purpose of the gold exchange office, some bounties other than ninjas were also placed in the gold exchange office. After learning the information he wanted to know, Kashiwasu no longer stayed and went north all the way to the Frost Country. Unlike the 3 seasons of snowfall in the Iron Country, the Frost Country is basically winter all year round, with only a few times when the temperature is above zero. After seeing the local cultural characteristics, Bai Sui found a small boat, moved all the things on the carriage onto the boat, and then sailed across the ocean to the land of Earth. After that, he passed through the Snow Country, the Ghost Country, the Ghost Country, the Bear Country, the Wind Country, the River Country, the Honey Country, the Tea Country, the Sea Country, the Rainbow Country, the Water Country, the Thunder Country, the Moon Country, and the Hot Spring Country. The overall process was to go around the Ninja Realm counterclockwise and finally come to the Fire Country. At this time, Bai Sui was over 40 years old, but he still looked like he was 16 years old. Of course, this appearance of about 16 years old is relative to this world. After all, people in this world age very quickly except for the nobles who do not work. In fact, for Bai Sui, this appearance is more than 20 years old. At this time, Bai Sui was walking in the forest, alone, without any luggage. It's not that Bai Sui spent all his money during his travels, but that he finally researched some useful runes during his travels. Because it looks like a swimming dragon, Bai Sui called it a dragon rune. After so many years of research, Bai Sui found that the dragon rune is not flat, but 3-dimensional. This is why he failed before. Of course, this 3-dimensional does not mean that the dragon rune is a statue and cannot be written on a plane. It means that its dimension is different. It is not a general 2-dimensional character, but also has the dimension of energy. In other words, it can still be written on paper like text, but it is more difficult. If you want it to work, you must ensure the construction of energy when writing. Now Bai Sui has only some clues and has not succeeded. Of course, it just can't be written directly on paper, but there are still ways to use it. For example, the jade pendant hanging on Bai Sui's waist now contains the dragon rune condensed by Bai Sui. Under the effect of the dragon rune, about 27 cubic meters of space are opened up, which is the limit of what Bai Sui can do now. Among these dragon symbols, some are responsible for stabilizing the space, some are responsible for absorbing ki, and some are responsible for storing ki. In other words, as long as this jade pendant is not damaged and placed in nature, it can be maintained until the dragon symbol inside gradually disintegrates under the influence of time, and the space inside it will dissipate. As for how long the dragon symbol will disintegrate, Bai Sui is not sure at present, but the jade plate on his waist has been used for several years and has not been damaged at all. The space is now filled with items that Bai Sui has collected over the years, mainly books, jade, chakra metal and gold. As for items such as antique calligraphy and paintings, Bai Sui is not interested. So Bai Sui exchanged those previous items for books and money. Later, the accumulated money was too much to fit, so Bai Sui bought a lot of chakra metal. As for why Bai Sui no longer makes more storage jade pendants, it is because Bai Sui found that there will be interference between different storage jade pendants in an area. As the number and time increase, the influence between storage jade pendants will also be greater. Under Bai Sui's test, if 2 storage jade pendants are stored close together, one of them will be completely damaged within 2 months at most, and the other will also be damaged to a certain extent. So in order to avoid unnecessary losses, Bai Sui temporarily uses only 1 storage jade pendant. Of course, this jade pendant is not all that Bai Sui has made. Bai Sui also made a string of jade bracelets on his hands, the main function of which is to store various attributes of ki for the convenience of Bai Sui's use. When looking for a container to hold the dragon talisman, Bai Sui found that the effect of jade and chakra metal is very good, and the higher the quality, the better the effect. So the original sword was abandoned by Bai Sui, and now it is collected in the storage jade pendant. It happened that Bai Sui collected a lot of chakra metal, so he luxuriously created a pure chakra metal sword and engraved a set of dragon talismans in it. Now the limit that Bai Sui can do is to build 9 dragon talismans at the same time, and the structure will collapse if there are more. Therefore, under the effect of the 9 dragon symbols, the sword can now be regarded as a treasure. It can absorb ki and store a lot of ki. In the presence of ki, it has the ability to fly and serve concurrently. In other words, even if it leaves the realm of Bai Sui's consciousness, the sword can still fly between heaven and earth, greatly enhancing Bai Sui's attack distance and attack flexibility. There is a thin layer of light on it. Don't underestimate the thin light. On the one hand, it enhances the sharpness of the sword, and on the other hand, it can enhance the protection of the sword. Before the ki is consumed, the light will not dissipate, and before the light dissipates, it will not harm the sword body inside. Bai Sui even tried to put the sword into the lava, and the light on it resisted for more than 2 minutes without extinguishing. Even because of the nourishment of ki, the sword itself will become more tenacious, but because of the protection of that layer of light, Bai Sui has not really experimented with its amplification. The Land of Fire was basically the last stop of Kashiwasa's trip. Although there were still some countries or unclaimed lands in the ninja world that Kashiwasa had not been to, he had experienced most of the areas, which made up for one of his previous wishes. Now Kashiwasa's only remaining wish was to find his blood relatives and help them to the best of his ability. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 42 Famous Scene. Bai Sui used his own flesh and blood as a guide to perform divination several times, and finally pointed to the Fire Country. In other words, Bai Sui's blood relatives are likely to be within the Fire Country. It is also possible that the Uzumaki clan is located in the Fire Country, and Bai Sui's blood relatives are all ordinary people. Even if they flee, they will not go too far. They are still within the Fire Country, not too far. But even if there is a general direction, Bai Sui really can't find anyone. After all, the scope of the Fire Country is too large. Moreover, in his previous life, Bai Sui studied Zhuai Daoshu more, but it is useless in this world. For the other divination methods, Bai Sui only knows Xiaoliu Yao and Jin Jin K, but he is not proficient in them and can only understand a general idea. Although with the help of Bai Sui's current strong premonition, the two complement each other, which also makes Bai Sui more accurate, but often the interpretation is not complete. At this moment, Bai Sui is walking in this forest under the guidance of Jin Jin K. Since there is no destination, Bai Sui simply lets his body go and walks by feeling. Soon, Bai Sui discovered that this place was different. It's not that there is anything different about this forest, but that the people in this forest are extremely extraordinary. Due to the cover of trees, Bai Sui could not see the situation on the scene directly, but his consciousness had already transmitted what he saw into Bai Sui's mind. There is a winding river in the dense jungle. There are two little boys in their teens on the river bank. The two are skipping stones on the river. Seeing the conspicuous hedgehog head and mushroom head, as well as this classic scene, Bai Sui knew what he had encountered. To be honest, this scene has been seen many times when Bai Sui looked back at his past life memories, but when it was really shown in front of him, Bai Sui felt that his state of mind was unstable. After all, this is the first person he has seen since he came to this world, even if this is just a character in an animation. Bai Sui just watched the interaction between the two through his consciousness, without rashly contacting. After all, two children are communicating their feelings, why should an adult join in the fun? With such a discovery, Bai Sui chose a place to live temporarily around here, and just watched the interaction between the two from a distance. As the days passed, the relationship between the two became closer. Although they never mentioned their surnames, they knew each other better. Bai Sui, who had been observing all this from a distance, was extremely distressed. After all, he now had a chance to directly solve the first person in front of him who could open the main Gekio. According to Bai Sui's understanding, the Uchiha clan did not have the main Gekio before, and at most they had 3 Magatama. If it could be solved at this moment and the main Gekio was not allowed to appear in the world, there would be no Samsara I and Kaguya Otsutsuki. Looking back at the previous 1,000 years, without the Samsara I, wouldn't it be useless even if Black Zetsu was running around in the ninja world? However, what Bai Sui saw now was just a teenager. Even if he would wreak havoc on the ninja world in the future and cause countless people to die because of him, Uchiha Madara was still a child. What's more, in Bai Sui's opinion, Uchiha Madara was more instigated. If it weren't for the malicious instigation of Black Zetsu, he wouldn't have taken that path. And in the travels of Bai Sui over the years, he really combined some thoughts of his previous life and made his own judgment. Every child will have different personalities and behavioral logics due to their different families, cultures, and education. Everyone must go through a process of moral socialization in the process of growing up, that is, learning mainstream values and morals, and internalizing these values and morals, and then become an adult who meets the requirements of society. The place where people first carry out moral socialization is the family. Lack of love, absence of parents, and domestic violence are all breeding grounds for a series of people such as antisocial personnel and war elements. And these antisocial personnel, war elements, and a series of people often have the characteristics of arrogance and unhealthy personality. This is often caused by their unhealthy psychological development and lack of family culture when they were minors. They often show narrow-mindedness, paranoia, serious violent tendencies, and hope to solve all problems with force. In the previous life, although there were many problems in the family where Bai Sui lived, they were not as serious as those in the ninja world. Yes, they are not individual phenomena, but the entire ninja world, and most of the families in it are problematic in Bai Sui's view. Of course, this may be due to visual deviation caused by different standing angles, but it is an unchanging fact that those people show barbaric cold-bloodedness, cruelty and bloodlust, and are keen on violence and war, ignoring life and kindness. When Bai Sui was traveling, he found that there were many ninjas or samurai who could actually insert their weapons into babies in swaddling clothes with a smile on their faces. At first, Bai Sui thought that such inhumane things were isolated cases and were very angry about it, but later, the more roads he walked, the more tragic he saw. Although such scenes did not cause any physical discomfort to Bai Sui, they did have a great impact on his mind. Bai Sui tried to change the thinking of those people at first, but after many attempts, Bai Sui knew that he was dreaming. He might be able to change a limited number of people with his own strength, but he could not control more. What's more, those whose hands were already stained with the blood of innocent people, Bai Sui did not want to give them a chance to change. After all, mistakes are mistakes. This also led to Bai Sui gaining a great reputation in his travels over the years. After all, there were not a few ninja clans or forces destroyed by him. However, such killings could not solve anything. At most, it would allow Bai Sui to vent the anger that had accumulated in his chest. After all, this was the era. Even if the village was not massacred by ninjas today, it would be robbed by bandits tomorrow. In the last period of his travels, Bai Sui even walked in deserted places, just to avoid seeing it. In fact, Bai Sui understood that this war was about to come to an end. It was not because he saw Hashirama Senju and Madara Uchiha, but because the entire ninja world had been invaded by the war and had reached the point where 9 out of 10 houses were empty. The war would soon shrink due to lack of manpower. Bai Sui now thought that the reason why Hashirama and Madara were able to successfully build a village was also due to this aspect. Chapter 43 Exploration. After all, even if the two were mech warriors driving Gundam, they were not invincible in the ninja world. Based on what Kashiwasa saw in the ninja world, the two might be invincible in single combat, but they were not immune to group attacks. After all, the two's act of building a village was actually digging at the roots of those ninja clans in the eyes of those clans. Although those people were narrow-minded for various reasons, they were not fools and naturally could not fail to see the problems. For such behavior, even the ninja clans that usually did not get along would temporarily put aside their emotions and unite. It was only because of the long-term war that the power of the ninja clan was weakened to the lowest point, which allowed Madara and his men to complete the act of building a village with their own strength. Moreover, other villages, although they were called villages, could be seen not like Konoha, which was close to eliminating the ninja clan. On the contrary, those villages were more like a forum for the various ninja clans to talk about. Although this trip made Kashiwasa feel a little bit of resentment towards the ninja clan, that was not the main thing. The main thing was to see the real ninja world. To be honest, when I watched the plot of Naruto before, I thought it was a bit far-fetched to say that 80,000 ninjas were dispatched in the Fourth War, but after seeing the entire ninja world, Kashiwasa could only say that it was just a state of recuperation. After all, Kashiwasa discovered during his travels that at the peak of the ninja world, those who could be called ninja clans had at least 100 or so combat forces, and those below this number were not worthy of being called clans. Of course, these 100 or so were mainly Jinan. And even if it was just such a small clan, as far as Kashiwasa knew, there were nearly 200 of them. Because these clans were spread throughout the ninja world, and because of the war, they changed greatly. and the combat forces of those large clans were also around 1,000 people at the peak. After all, if there were no such people, how could the Uzumaki clan dare to talk about establishing a country? Based on the information learned by Bai Sui during his travels and his own confirmation, he estimated a rough data. The entire ninja world has a population of more than 30 million, of which about 500,000 are ninjas and their clansmen, 100,000 ninjas, and about 400,000 clansmen without ninja talents, about 100,000 samurai, monks, onmyages, and shrine maidens, about 300,000 nobles and official servants, and about 1.2 million ordinary soldiers. Of course, this data is from the peak period of the ninja world. Now, after a long period of war, only the nobles and their soldiers have not changed much. After all, the ninja world during the Warring States period was really chaotic, and many of those ninjas had abnormal thinking. Without the corresponding protection power, how could those nobles survive to this day? Can the management relationship between the daimyo and the ninja really make those ninjas obedient and not attack them? Don't be kidding, some ninjas will attack their own people when they are crazy, not to mention these so-called nobles who are as weak as ants in their eyes. The reason is very simple, that is, because those nobles have enough power to protect themselves, and they can suppress the ninjas with their unity. Yes, they united to cause civil strife among the ninjas, and tried their best to make the ninjas discord among each other through honors, materials, etc. After hundreds of years of efforts, a gap has been created between the ninjas, and many of them cannot be healed. In order to maintain such a split, the nobles continue to invest a lot of resources every year. And Bai Sui also found that those nobles are far from being as simple as they appear. Their research behind the scenes has never stagnated, and there are many results. Apart from anything else, all the places in the ninja world that are open to the public look very backward, including those daimyo's mansions, but in those hidden experimental sites, electricity has been used. Although it is still very simple, things like electric lights already exist. To be honest, from this point alone, Bai Sui still admires those daimyo very much. After all, it is not that they cannot live more comfortably and make their lives more convenient, but they guard the beliefs in their hearts for generations, just to solve the problem of ninjas one day. Bai Sui discovered that the nobles may know more about ninjas than the ninjas themselves. After all, the nobles have a long history, and can even be traced back to hundreds of years before the advent of the Otsutsuki. And those nobles with a long history have records of the Otsutsuki Kaguya and the 6 brothers in their homes, and the ninjas they created later have always been the focus of the nobles. Those daimyo have abundant resources. If they want to become ninjas, they only need to introduce some blood. However, looking at the entire ninja world, only some emerging nobles of small countries have ninja blood. The reason is that they believe that ninja blood is a means for demons to invade this world. After all the nobles who have survived to this day have ancestors who have experienced the creation of white Zetsu by Kaguya's infinite moon reading. If Kaguya just fell from the sky, people thought she was a goddess, but after experiencing that doomsday, they would no longer have such an idea. So those nobles are trying to ensure the purity of their own blood. Although they are also spying on the power of ninjas, they will not let their own blood be polluted. In the process of development, ninjas naturally want to go further. After all, no one wants to be controlled by others, so many ninjas have been built. However, those countries were exterminated by the nobles in various ways. When the first ninja country was exterminated, the nobles made a great determination. After all, they knew about the 6-path sage, and there were some of his deeds and legends from time to time in the entire ninja world. At that time, the nobles did not know his attitude and were ready to fight him to the death. However, although there were some small accidents in the whole process of destroying the country, Otsutsuki did not come out to stop it. It was from then on that the nobles began to target the ninja clan. It was just that the ninja clan had grown stronger at that time. After several tough battles, it turned from a head-on confrontation to a secret division. And with the unremitting efforts of the nobles, they married some big ninja clans and buried a lot of nails in them. Those nails were loyal to the nobles, or to what they believed to be pure-blooded humans. Even their own descendants would not be trusted because of the impure blood. It was with the help of these nails that the nobles gradually completed their vision and contributed to the current state of the ninja world. As for the nobles' ideas, Kushiwasu could not say who was right or wrong. After all, it was just a matter of perspective. Chapter 44 Contact. Everyone has his own stance, and Kushiwasu naturally stands on his own stance. And Kashiwasui's stance is actually no stance. After all, he just wants to practice himself and pursue self-transcendence. He is not a native noble of this planet, so naturally he chooses what is beneficial to him. After all, in Kashiwasui's view, the best life is a life without goals. Ideas such as maintaining the world, liberating thoughts, and eliminating Otsutsuki, although great, are actually too tiring and difficult to achieve, and are not necessary for Kashiwasui's life, so he does not want to take the initiative to do anything. And at present, it seems that ninjas are more useful to Kashiwasui. After all, this planet is not peaceful. From now on, Otsutsuki will appear in a maximum of 100 years. Not only Otsutsuki Kaguya, but also Otsutsuki Aishiki, Otsutsuki Momoshiki, Otsutsuki Urashiki, Otsutsuki Kinshiki, and Otsutsuki Yamane. Regardless of whether Boruto is the biggest fan of Naruto, at least the threat of the Otsutsuki clan does exist, and those ninjas are the only ones on this planet that can fight against them, as far as Kashiwasu knows, although they are ninjas who have been cheated. As for the power developed by the nobles, whether it is the performance in the original work or the progress seen by Kashiwasu, Kashiwasu does not think that they can develop to the extent of fighting against the Otsutsuki in just 100 years. So from Kashiwasu's point of view, he is currently on the side of the ninjas. After all, 100 years is too short. Kashiwasu, who has already achieved the fruit of human immortal, can live for 500 or 600 years under the effect of ki. This period of time is used by Kashiwasu to transform into terrestrial immortal. According to the current progress of the Dan, 100 years is really not enough. After all, Kashiwasu is not a top genius and does not have a speed that far exceeds that of others. After figuring out his own needs, Kashiwasu decided to try to intervene in the ninjas himself. Since Kashiwasu doesn't want to face the resurrected Kaguya Otsutsuki, then Uchiha Madara is one of the key points. Now he has to find a way to make the two accept him. As for creating some troubles for the two and then solving them to improve their favorability, although this behavior is simple and effective, Kashiwasu thinks it does not conform to his three views and does not intend to do so. Instead, he wants to impress the other party with his sincerity, although it will be more difficult. First of all, you need to strengthen this belief, and you have to make yourself strong. It's useless for the weak to bark loudly. The hedgehog-headed Madara sat cross-legged and talked to Hashirama. The mushroom-headed Hashirama agreed very much. Yes, anyway, if you can master various ninjutsu and become strong, the adults can't ignore our opinions. Madara stood up and turned his back to Hashirama. That is to say, you must overcome the ninjutsu and weaknesses you are not good at. But in this regard, I have no so-called weaknesses for a long time. After saying that, he left Hashirama with a handsome smile. Madara, who had just practiced with Hashirama, felt a little urgent to pee, so he started to pee towards the stream. Just when Madara was enjoying the water, his face suddenly twisted and the water column was cut off. At this time, Hashirama quietly walked behind Madara and smiled obscenely. Oh, it actually stopped. I told you not to stand behind me. Believe it or not, I will throw you into the river where I peed. Madara, who was irritated because of the interruption of water discharge, chased Hashirama and wanted to beat him. Hashirama, who was running in front, laughed and shouted, "Hey! Hey! Hey! There's still urine on your hand. Don't rub it on me, you bastard, it's all your fault." Seeing the two of them getting along so happily, Kashiwasu couldn't bear to disturb them, so he kept waiting for them to play. When the two were tired of running, Kashiwasu walked out of the woods and stood on the road that the two had to pass. It can be said that she is worthy of being the future ninja god in Battlefield Rose. Even though her physical strength has been greatly consumed, even in the midst of playing, she is still vigilant and saw Kashiwasu from a distance. She even exchanged glances during the quarrel and continued to run as if nothing happened. However, none of these small movements escaped Kashiwasu's consciousness, and everything was in his sight. Seeing that Kashiwasu did not make any attacking moves and just stood in the middle of the road, the two felt that something was wrong. After all, they did not slow down their speed. If Kashiwasu was a ninja, he should be on guard against the approach of unknown people. If it was a civilian, he should have some emotions or expression changes, but Kashiwasu's face was calm and expressionless. This made the two suspect that Kashiwasu had set up an ambush and wanted to wait for the two to fall into the trap, so they stood still with a glance, looking at Kashiwasu 20 meters away. "Who are you?" Hashirama asked Kashiwasu. Bai Sui smiled and looked at the people. "You don't have to be too alert. I have lived in this forest for a while. I heard that you two have some opinions about ninjas and the ninja world. But at that time, I thought you two were just on a whim, but I didn't expect that you had made up your mind and practiced for it. Seeing you two like this, I came to meet you. Although I am not a ninja and don't know the situation inside the ninja, I have traveled to many countries in the ninja world and I also have some ideas. I want to communicate with you. Bai Sui thought well, but he forgot one thing, that is, his face was too young and not convincing at all. Sure enough, Ban said directly, you look only a few years older than us, but you actually said that you have traveled to many countries in the ninja world. It's simply a fantasy. Hashirama. Don't talk nonsense with him anymore. If you have anything to say, wait until you take him down. Although Hashirama felt that Bai Sui was telling the truth, he also listened to his friend's opinions and decided to take action. At the same time, he also stepped up his mind. After all, if you really want to travel around the ninja world, you can't do it without some skills. The two did not carry any ninja tools, nor did they use ninjutsu. After all, they had a competition before, and they had consumed a lot of chakra. Even though Hashirama will be the representative of chakra in the ninja world in the future, his body is still developing due to his age. Although he has shown chakra far beyond his peers, he is still only his peers. So the two of them were ready to use physical skills to attack from two directions, forcing Kashiwasa to make a move, so as to judge Kashiwasa's strength. After all, the two of them are not yet grown up, and combat intelligence between ninjas is still very important. Even though the two are very cautious, they can't stand the fact that Kashiwasa is too strong. When the two entered Kashiwasa's spiritual field, they immediately felt a stagnation around them, but it was too late to leave. Chapter 45 Thoughts. The two people who were bound gave up after trying several times. After all, they knew they couldn't break free again. In this case, they might as well save their strength and wait for the opportunity. Hashirama did not hide his curiosity. Of course, it was also possible that he did not feel any malice from Kashiwasa. What kind of ninjutsu is this? I didn't see you make a seal. Is it a ninjutsu without a seal? They were noisy all the way, imprisoned by Kashiwasa and floating in the air. The two were wrapped in ki and followed behind Kashiwasa. Kashiwasa did not walk either. He also flew into the air and crossed the river to fly to his previous landing point. Is this earth escape? I have heard of a light and heavy rock technique. It is said that if you practice it to a high level, you can fly with it. Is this the technique? By the way, where are we going? Shut up, Hashirama. You are too noisy. Before Kashiwasa could say anything, Madara, who was floating with him, couldn't stand Hashirama's nonsense and forced him to stop making noise. Soon they came to a small wooden house. Hashirama and the other two knew that they had lived there for more than 1 or 2 days. In addition, Kashiwasa released his control after placing them in front of the wooden house. The two thought of what Kashiwasa had said before. The wooden door in front of them opened automatically. Kashiwasa invited the two to go in first. The two looked at each other and followed. The three sat down. Kashiwasa brewed a pot of tea and took out some fruits and cakes. Although Kashiwasa himself did not eat them, he had a lot of them in his storage space. The two were sharp-eyed and noticed that these things appeared out of thin air. At first, they thought it was an illusion, but Madara confirmed it after many tests. After all, he believed that there was no illusion that could deceive Uchiha. Out of caution, the two did not enter, and Kashiwasa did not care. After all, these were not the point. Kashiwasa told the two about some of his experiences during his travels, which were mixed with many human tragedies. It was reasonable that he should not tell these things to the two children, but the two in front of him were the sons of the patriarch of the ninja clan. They were enlightened at an early age and had seen many tragic situations with their own eyes. It is precisely because of their personal experiences that they are prompted to think about their own future, the future of ninjas, and the future of the ninja world. After hearing about what happened to Kashiwasa, Hashirama was also in a low mood, obviously thinking about something, and then his face gradually became firm, as if he had made up his mind. I've decided. I want to build a village for all the ninjas, where the children don't have to fight each other. I'll build a school for them, teach and train them, so that they can grow up and become stronger, a village where children don't have to be sent to the front line to fight for their lives. Madara on the side was obviously moved, but his tone was stiff. You are the only one who would say such stupid things, but it's not bad. After the two finished speaking, they looked at Kashiwasa, obviously hoping to get approval from outsiders. Bai Sui nodded, It is indeed a good idea, but I want to ask a question. The reason why the current ninja clans let children go to the battlefield is because there are not enough adults, right? Hashirama nodded. Yes, in the beginning, children were indeed not allowed to go to the battlefield. Later, because of too many casualties, the adults gradually couldn't bear the pressure, so the children were allowed to share some of the burden. Bai Sui took over the conversation. If this is the case, then even if a village is established, if the adults are seriously injured or killed, won't the children still go to the battlefield to share the pressure? It's just that there will be relatively more adults, and more adults need to be killed or killed before the children will be allowed to go to the battlefield, right? Madara said dissatisfiedly. How could it be? A village composed of several ninja clans must be extremely powerful. At that time, who can compete with it, unless... Bai Sui nodded. Yes, it's just what you think. If they see such a powerful village appear, what will other ninja clans do? Wait for the village to destroy them? No. The village we established will not start a war. Hashirama was very excited. We did not establish this village to destroy other ninja clans. We established this village so that our children don't have to go to the battlefield. Yes, you are right, but this is only from your perspective. What if you look at it from the perspective of other ninja clans? Suddenly, a powerful village appeared that can easily destroy you. Although it did not actively attack you, you know how powerful it is. It even has blood debts with some families in the village in the past years. Do you think this ninja clan can feel at ease? What will it do? Naturally, it is to find a way to gain some sense of security, and there are only a few ways to gain a sense of security. Either join the village if you can't beat it, then stay away from the village and move the clan land far away. In addition, it is to strengthen its own strength. If you want to gain the power to compete with a village in a short period of time, isn't the easiest way to establish another village? Is there anything surprising about this? As for why no one has chosen such a method to become stronger quickly before, it is nothing more than the lack of trust between the ninja clans and the mutual restraints, which made it so that everyone could only form a relatively loose alliance and could not really live together. Kashiwasuke continued to follow Hashirama. Although Madara was dissatisfied with Kashiwasuke pouring cold water on his friend before, he himself was very smart and would not make unreasonable demands, let alone say that there would be no fighting between villages. Do you have any good ideas? During the previous conversation, Kashiwasuke mentioned his age. Although the two had doubts about this, they were forced to accept it due to the gap in strength between the two sides. Bai Sui said, I can't say I have a brilliant idea, but I do have a few immature ideas. Since there is an idea of forming a village with several ninja clans, why not think about it in a bigger way? What if all the ninja clans are gathered together? Why not just unify the entire ninja world and make it a country? We all belong to one country, and the entire country suppresses each family. Although fighting is inevitable, its intensity can be controlled to a certain extent. At least there will not be a war in the entire ninja world like now. And have you ever thought about why ninja clans fight with each other? It's simply because the resources owned by the ninja clans are uneven. And they often find that other families have things they need. Although these things cannot be eliminated after the establishment of a unified country, the country can redistribute resources to a certain extent and transport the materials given in a certain place to relatively barren places. Would this alleviate the contradictions to a certain extent? Chapter 46 Discussion. Hashirama and the other man thought quickly, and then found a big problem. In this case, what about the original daimyo and nobles? If there is only one country, who will be the daimyo? Bai Sui was also stunned when he heard this. He had never thought about this problem. After all, the idea of our kings, princes, generals, and ministers different in kind, was firmly rooted in Bai Sui's heart, so he never thought about those people at all. If you want to talk about this, then I have something to ask you. How do you choose the clan leader in your ninja clan? Must it be the clan leader's son? Or do you choose the strongest person in the clan? Madara took over the conversation. It's not necessarily about choosing the strongest person, but choosing the person who can lead the family to grow as the clan leader. It's just that such a person is often the strongest in the clan. Bai Sui smiled. Isn't this simple? Since the clan leader is fought for by ability, the position of daimyo must also be fought for by ability. It's just that the daimyo's duty is not to fight, so the daimyo should be evaluated by his level of state management. Whoever has a higher level of state management will be the daimyo. As for the rest of the nobles, all ninja clans will decline or even die out. If the nobles are capable, they can continue to hold positions in the country. If they are just good-for-nothings, just let them decline. But, Hashirama hesitated again, if you want to unify, it will inevitably lead to very tragic war. After all, this is to turn the ninja clan into a subsidiary, which will inevitably lead to a strong counterattack. Bai Sui also looked serious. That's right, if you want to make a big change, there is no reason to not shed blood. Haven't you heard, we love peace, but peace will survive if we fight for it, and peace will die if we compromise for it. Peace is the goal, and struggle is the means of peace. Peace is relative, and struggle is absolute. Only through struggle can there be real peace. Peace is not sought, but fought out. At any time, whether it is an enemy or a friend, only the strong can be respected. The two were shocked when the great man said these words. Although they had never heard these words before, the more they thought about it, the more they made sense. The more they pondered, the clearer it became. But the two were still children after all. Even if they were powerful, they were still children. They still kept the purest beauty and noble kindness in their hearts. But, after all, too many people will die, and countless families will lose their relatives and friends. I don't want more people to feel this way, even if it is right. Hashirama was in a low mood. But Madara on the side had a different idea. He thought that Kashiwahara was right. Even if they had to kill half of the population of the ninja world, it would be worth it if they could get long-term peace. Even if it was not forever but only 100 years, the number of people who died in the war during the 100 years would be far more than the number of people fighting in this great battle. Seeing the different expressions of the two, Bai Sui did not comment, but continued, if you think that the price of unification is too high, then there is also a governance method of a small country with few people, doing nothing but achieving everything. However, it is still very difficult to achieve, and the turmoil caused may not be less than that of great unification. After all, this method mainly targets all managers. The three talked for a while, and then Hashirama and the other two left. After all, they were sneaking out and could not delay for too long, so they agreed to talk again later. The two who left this place returned to their own clan lands. The two were no longer in their previous postures, and they seemed to be worried. Naturally, this was seen by everyone. For example, their younger brothers, Uchiha Izuna and Senju Tobirama, found that their brothers were not right. Unlike Izuna, who respected his brother very much, Tobirama was very opinionated. He had long discovered that Hashirama had been sneaking out recently, and this time he wanted to find out the truth. After all, he knew Hashirama very well. If Hashirama didn't want to say something, he couldn't get it out by just asking. He could only rely on Tobirama to find a solution. In the following days, the two often came to Kashiwasu, but they didn't discuss future plans. After all, they both had their own ideas and would not be easily changed by others. Instead, they wanted Kashiwasu to help improve their strength. Ninja, after all, is a profession that emphasizes strength. All the problems that can't be figured out can be solved by force. Kashiwasu, who had destroyed many ninja clans, naturally had a lot of gains, so he also found a lot of collections of scrolls from the storage jade pendant. Although Kashiwasu couldn't use them, these things were indeed valuable and very valuable. In addition, they were also references for Kashiwasu's research on dragon symbols, so he collected them all. It has to be said that in the chakra system, the combat power is indeed improved quickly. The strength of the two has been significantly improved under the nourishment of these knowledge. It's just that Madara and Hashirama both want to hide their identities, so they didn't show some iconic moves, although they both had some guesses about each other. On this day, the three of them gathered in the cabin as usual, but Kashiwasu noticed something different through his spiritual sense. Oh? Madara, Hashirama, it seems that your younger brother cares about you very much, and he even followed you here secretly. Hearing this, the two were stunned and their faces changed immediately. Kashiwasu continued, don't worry, they have all left, they just took a look from a distance, very far away. After all, Kashiwasu didn't have any problems, and he wouldn't open his spiritual sense to observe the surroundings 24 hours a day. If Kashiwasu hadn't felt someone looking at him, he really wouldn't have noticed the two children. After all, they really didn't pose any threat to Kashiwasu. After a while of silence, Hashirama and the other two started their activities as usual, but this time they were very serious and attentive. Before leaving, the two sat on the treetops, chatting for a long time facing the sunset, and laughing and joking there. Kashiwasu knew that the two were saying goodbye in their own way. Sure enough, The next day the two did not come to the cabin, but went to the river where they first met. The two faced each other across the river bank, as if they were going to end it here. Madara tightly grasped the pebble in his hand and suggested, "Let's say hello by skipping stones on the water as usual." Hashirama did the same. Taking out a pebble he had prepared in advance from his arms and skipping stones on the water as usual. However, the stones in the past were thrown to the shore, but this time the stones were thrown towards each other. Holding the flying pebble, there were words, "There is a trap, leave and run on it." "Hashirama, I'm sorry that we can't play together today. I suddenly remembered that I have something to do." Madara waved his hand and turned to leave. Chapter 47 Opening Eyes. "Yes, is that so? Then I'll go back today." Hashirama also waved his hand. At the moment when the two turned around, they exerted their strength at the same time and ran towards the distant jungle. The two's movements were immediately discovered by the people hiding in the woods on both sides. "So fast, do you want to escape? Let's go, Tobirama." "Hashirama, this guy actually leaked the secret." Senju Batsuma, who was informed by Senju Tobirama, immediately went to intercept. However, two people also ran out of the woods on the other side. They were Uchiha Izuna and his father Uchiha Tajima. The four people immediately confronted each other when they met. Hashirama and the other two who were still running also stopped and watched the negotiation between the four people. Uchiha Tajima and Senju Batsuma are similar in strength, and both of them are old opponents who have fought countless times. They know that the key to breaking the situation is not strength, but the children around them. After all, the ninjas are trained to not be confused no matter what situation they encounter on the battlefield, and as long as they are a moment of panic, they will have flaws, and then decide life and death. Senju Tobirama and Uchiha Izuna were the ones who would make the other party panic. If they could find a way to kill their own children, they would definitely be able to kill the other party. So the two clan leaders immediately chose the most likely way to kill the other party, which was to throw short blades and shuriken that could kill the other party's children under the guise of fighting. Hashirama and Madara, of course, knew their fathers, and they also stared at the scene of the battle at the first time, and threw the pebbles in their hands, intending to intercept the weapons that attacked their younger brother. Feeling the strong mental fluctuations of the two, especially Madara, Kashiwasu, who had been secretly observing, chose to take action. After all, no matter what, he couldn't bear to watch adults kill children in front of him. Go! Kashiwasu's portable sword came out in response, and he was the first to arrive, almost at the same time cutting off the broken blade and shuriken. Feeling this amazing sword, Uchiha Tajima and Senju Fusuma, who were originally fighting, immediately stopped and retreated, and brought their sons back to their side. At this time, Madara and Hashirama, who had just thrown the pebbles, also ran to their respective fathers, and the six of them looked at Kashiwasu who flew out of the woods. Uchiha Tajima and Senju Fusuma didn't know whether Kashiwasu was the other party's helper, so they didn't dare to act rashly. Instead, they focused their minds and were always alert to the scene. If they saw something wrong, they would take their children and flee. Kashiwasu didn't play any magic, but spoke directly. "You two are also the patriarchs of a big family. Why do you bother to attack the children? Isn't it a loss of status? Since you can't do anything to each other, why don't you stop here and take your people away?" After saying this, he observed the other party's expression and knew that Kashiwasu was not the other party's backup. Although he looked a little relaxed, he was still alert inside. "Let's go!" Uchiha Tajima and Senju Fusuma uttered a word almost at the same time, and left with their children. Kashiwasu noticed the eyes of Madara and Hashirama when they left, and smiled back at them. In fact, Bai Sui had sensed the pebbles thrown by the two people, and if Bai Sui did not take action, they would have saved their brothers, so he had to step in. Don't forget why Bai Sui came to this forest. It was to find the blood relatives of this body. And today, Bai Sui felt that he was about to find his blood relatives, and the opportunity was in the two families, so Bai Sui had to intervene so that he could find the relatives of this body. Sure enough, before the second day, Bai Sui's consciousness found that a group of people were coming towards Bai Sui. The leader was the Thousand Hands Buddha, and it seemed that he was going to make trouble for Bai Sui. It was also possible that this place was not far from the residence of the Thousand Hands clan. He was naturally worried about leaving someone like Bai Sui alone. This trip might not necessarily be to capture Bai Sui, but mainly to ensure the safety of the clan. There were about 20 people in the group, but only half of them were from the Thousand Hands clan. The other half was also familiar to Bai Sui, and it was the mark of the Uzumaki clan. Although the Thousand Hands Buddha was aggressive, Bai Sui's real attention was on a young man in the team. This man had red hair, black combat uniforms, blue layered armor on the outside, and a large clan emblem on the back. This man was about 15 or 16 years old, but since he could go out with a team, he was obviously quite capable. The reason why Bai Sui paid attention to this man was because he felt something different in him. Just one look at Bai Sui and he knew that this man was the one he was waiting for, and he must be a relative of this body. Obviously, there were some means of exploration or tracking among this group of people. At this time, they were heading straight towards Bai Sui, and they might be Kagura's heart eye from the Uzumaki clan. Even Bai Sui suspected that they did not sense Bai Sui, but the wooden house where Bai Sui was. After all, Bai Sui's consciousness was not just a simple look at the picture, but also knew what they were talking about. Master Buddha, we are still 1 kilometer away from the wooden house, and we still haven't sensed any signs of chakra in it. It is very likely that the man has left, a little girl reported to Buddha. Well, very good. Keep alert around to make sure that the Uchiha group does not approach. Let's go to the wooden house to search for information. If we don't find them, we will retreat, Fujin instructed the people around him. The ninjas were very fast. In just 1 minute, they had arrived in front of the wooden house, but no one acted rashly because they had already discovered Bai Sui, who was still in the wooden house. It was the same girl as before, who confirmed with Senju Fujin again, "Sir, I still can't sense the other party's chakra, but it's not that I can't sense the other party's existence at all." Fujin said that he already knew it, and waved his hand to signal the other party to retreat. He stepped forward and said to Bai Sui, "Sir, since you already know that we are coming, why don't you come out to meet us? I really need to come out to see you. After all, the person I'm waiting for has finally arrived." Bai Sui stood up and put the cushion he was sitting on into the storage jade pendant. After all, this cushion was not cheap. It was given to Bai Sui by a nobleman at the beginning. It was indeed comfortable to sit on. Thus, the wooden door of the hut opened by itself in front of those people, without anyone touching it, and they didn't even detect any chakra fluctuations. The leader, Fujin, immediately signaled everyone to be on guard. After all, just from this move, it can be seen that Bai Sui is not simple. Coupled with the sword in the river before, he has judged that the person in front of him is powerful, definitely not weaker than his old rival Uchiha Tajima, and may even be stronger. Chapter 48 Return to the Whirlpool. Feeling the power of Bai Sui, the crowd did not choose to take action immediately, but decided to negotiate first. Kaian Shao Fujian asked Bai Sui, "I wonder why you are staying outside the Kaian Shao tribe and frequently contacting my son." Bai Sui nodded and admitted, "The reason why I have been staying in this forest is that I do have something to do. Don't worry, I don't want to do anything to your Kaian Shao tribe. I just want to find my lost relatives." Today I finally waited for it. When he first heard Bai Sui's admission, Kaian Shao Fujian was ready to order the action, but he didn't expect Bai Sui to make a big turn and said that he was looking for someone. Then, "Who are you? Who are you looking for?" Bai Sui didn't speak, but closed his eyes. Seeing this, Fujian also signaled everyone not to act rashly, and all focused their attention on Bai Sui to prevent Bai Sui from suddenly attacking. Bai Sui, who closed his eyes, just sat cross-legged in front of everyone, sitting in the void. As time passed, Bai Sui's body gradually lit up with white light. As Bai Sui's body became brighter, one of the team members also had something strange. Kaiauhei, are you okay?" Seeing that his teammates also began to emit white light, his teammates hurried forward to check the situation. However, Uzumaki Kaiauhei, who was also glowing, did not feel that there was anything wrong with him. "I'm fine." "No, that's not right. I feel that my strength has become stronger." He himself was a little unbelievable when he said this, because as the light became more dazzling, the feeling of his growing strength became stronger. Just when he thought it was some kind of technique to stimulate potential, Bai Sui spoke first. "Don't worry, I won't harm you. It seems that the relative I'm looking for is you. I just activated Ki and made up for some of the deficits in your body caused by over-refining chakra, so you feel that you have become stronger. In fact, those are the parts you lost in the past." Naturally, everyone would not listen to Bai Sui's one-sided words, but instead examined Uzumaki Kaiauhei again, and finally concluded that he was extremely healthy, not only with abundant ki and blood, but also abundant chakra, so they reluctantly believed Bai Sui's words. After that, everyone looked at the leader of this trip, Senju Fujian, waiting for his decision. After all, if Bai Sui really came to recognize his relatives, there should be no fighting. Fujian frowned and looked at Bai Sui. You said he is your relative, but who else can prove it? Bai Sui smiled bitterly and shook his head. I really don't know about this. After all, I was separated from my family when I was 8 years old, and now it has been more than 30 years. Then he looked at Uzumaki Kyohei. Are there any elders in your family? Maybe you can only know by asking them. I can only know that you are my relative by the induction of blood. I really don't know anything else. The red-haired girl on the side stared at Bai Sui's face, thinking that this doesn't look like he is 40 years old. But she didn't interrupt. Uzumaki Kyohei looked at Bai Sui and scratched his head. My mother died when I was young, and my father didn't tell me anything. If you want to ask, you can only go back and ask my father. After that, he also looked at Senju Fujian, waiting for him to decide. Hearing this, Senju Fujian frowned even more deeply, but he didn't give the order to start. After all, Senju and Uzumaki were allies. If Bai Sui later confirmed that he had a history with Uzumaki, it would be a bit damaging to their relationship if he started now. In addition, Bai Sui was indeed very powerful, so there was no reason to push him away. So the group set out on the journey back to Senju's base, but with Bai Sui accompanying them. Bai Sui floated quietly behind everyone, and no matter how fast they always kept the same distance, without a single difference. This made Fujian value Bai Sui even more. After all, being able to fly is indeed an advantage these days, not to mention that Bai Sui's flying speed is not slow. Although the speed of traveling is not Fujian's limit now, it is obvious that Bai Sui has not reached his limit either. Soon the group returned to Senju's base. The sharp-eyed Hashirama saw Bai Sui following the team at once. He was surprised at first, but found that the atmosphere between the people was not serious, so he was relieved. The reason why half of the team of Senju Fujian was composed of Uzumaki clan members was because after the two clan leaders of Senju and Uchiha met today, the support promised by the Uzumaki clan arrived at the Senju station. The leader of the Uzumaki team proposed to bring their Uzumaki perception personnel to search for it. If they could find anything, it would be the best. Even if they didn't, it would be considered as eliminating the hidden dangers for the clan. Originally, Senju Hashirama asked to go out with the team, but thinking of his previous behavior of secretly informing Uchiha, he did not agree and asked Senju Tabirama to watch him and not let him go out. After Fujian came back, he informed the leader of the Uzumaki team about the matter. After understanding the situation, the leader met with Kashiwasu and agreed to arrange a team to send Kashiwasu to the Uzumaki station to find relatives. After thanking the captain named Uzumaki Hisaru, Kashiwasu set off with the Uzumaki team, which was called escort but actually surveillance. Kashiwasu didn't care about the vigilance of these people and chatted with Uzumaki Kyohei. Uzumaki Kyohei is 17 years old this year. He has married and has 2 children. Kyohei's parents are not ninjas. His father is also a member of the Uzumaki clan, but he does not have ninja talent. As for his mother, she died when he was very young, and he does not know much about her. Kyohei also has a younger sister who is married and has a son. At present, Kyohei is the only one in their family who has ninja talent, and his talent is not bad. He is also considered to be at an average level among his peers in the clan. When Kyohei learned that Kashiwasu was actually older than his father, he almost dropped his jaw. After all, no matter how you look at it, Kashiwasu is not much older than him. He thought he would be his cousin before, but in the blink of an eye, he might become his uncle, which made him feel a little unacceptable. The ninjas are very fast. They arrived at the Uzumaki clan in less than a day. Seeing the return of several people, the clan members guarding the gate were still very alert. They confirmed the identities of everyone according to the standard procedures before allowing them to enter. The situation at the door was quickly spread to the clan. After all, at this time, any slight movement must be vigilant, and no one can take advantage of it. So after the group of people passed the review and officially stepped into the clan territory, they met the clan leader and several elders who came towards them. It's not that they were too idle to even take care of such a small matter, but most of the clan ninjas were sent out, and there were not many masters left. The letter brought back by the team described Kashiwasu as very powerful, so they came here just to be on the safe side. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. we cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 49 Recognition. The current clan leader, Uzumaki Ashina, is about the same age as Kashiwasu, and has only been the clan leader for a short time. However, he has been with the previous clan leader since he was a child, learning and training at the same time, and has a lot of experience. Just a glance at him, and he found that Kashiwasu was extraordinary. Although he did not give off any dangerous and fierce aura, and even seemed very gentle, compared with the ninjas who were returning with him, he did not have any dusty smell after traveling. Uzumaki Ashina had led a team to and from the Senju clan before. He asked himself that he would not be spotless after traveling so fast. Although such a journey would not make him feel tired, it was inevitable that he would be stained with a lot of dust. Although this cannot judge a person's strength, it can at least allow him to put Kashiwasu on an equal level with himself, and not look down on him because of his young appearance. The Uzumaki clan is a famous clan in the ninja world. It is not only powerful but also has a long heritage. They have collected all kinds of information in the ninja world. Naturally, they also know that there are some secret techniques that can make people look younger than they actually are, so they will not think that Kashiwa is young. After all, in the entire ninja world, although some people will gain powerful strength because of their bloodline, strength is still proportional to age. Living longer does not necessarily mean being strong, but being strong is definitely not young. After making a preliminary judgment on Kashiwa's strength, Uzumaki Ashina became more concerned about this possible recognition of relatives. Instead of letting Kashiwa follow Uzumaki Kyohei home, he invited Kashiwa to the most central building in the clan, which is the clan leader's residence where he usually handles clan affairs. At the same time, Uzumaki Ashina arranged for someone to bring Uzumaki Kyohei's father, Uzumaki Kunio, over. During this period, Kashiwa was accompanied by Uzumaki Ashina and several elders. With the common compliments of both sides, they had a good chat. Soon, Uzumaki Kunio was brought here. Hearing that the clan leader had summoned him, he was a little scared, fearing that something might have happened to his son Uzumaki Kyohei. After all, in his opinion, there was almost no connection between his family and the clan leader, and only his son, who was quite talented as a ninja, could be involved. Unfortunately, the person who was arranged by the clan leader to lead the people didn't know the specific situation, so he could only be worried and have wild thoughts along the way. As a result, the more he thought about it, the more scared he became. When he learned from the clan leader the purpose of summoning him and saw his son standing beside him safely, Uzumaki Kunio breathed a sigh of relief and began to try to recall the relevant information. Yes, tribe leader, my wife once told me that she had a brother whom I had never met. At that time, my father-in-law and mother-in-law fled due to the war, and they had to send their brother to the tribe for foster care, and we haven't had any contact since then. It was not until I married my wife that I was asked to look for him because of my identity as a member of the Uzumaki tribe. Due to the long time that happened, and the fact that the war spread to the vicinity of the Uzumaki tribe that year, the only information I found out was that this person did exist, but he disappeared after arranging a mission to transport supplies, and then my wife died of dystocia, and we didn't trace him any further. At first, Uzumaki Kunio stuttered a little due to nervousness and memories, but then he spoke more and more fluently, and he was no longer as timid as he was at the beginning. Bai Sui nodded in approval. Yes, I did participate in the transport mission that year. I still remember that the ninja leading my transport was Uzumaki Sujito, but we were intercepted by Uchiha at that time, resulting in me being the only one who survived among all the civilians. Later, I brought back souvenirs. I remember that it was a medical ninja named Uzumaki Takeya who treated my injuries. At that time, because I didn't know how to change the bandage, the blood scabs directly condensed on the bandages. When I removed the bandages, it left a deep impression on me. Bai Sui really didn't lie. After all, that was the only time that Bai Sui was injured after coming to the ninja world. It should be said that the Uchiha clan is worthy of being strong. Hearing Bai Sui mention the Uzumaki clan members of that year, the head of the Uzumaki Ashina immediately signaled someone to check. After all, they are all ninjas from the same family, and they are all related to each other. It was soon learned that there were indeed such people, but they had all died in previous wars. After listening to the reports of the clan members and understanding the identities of the two ninjas, he knew that Kashiwa Sui was not talking nonsense. After all, They were all shinin in the clan, and Uzumaki Takeo was in a relatively safe place most of the time. If it weren't for the urgent need for manpower at the time, he would not have let the medical personnel who lacked combat experience to fight. It can be said that the only experience that Uzumaki Takeo had in a real fight with others was the one in which he died. He had almost no contact with outsiders. He asked Kashiwa Sui for information about the two people, and Kashiwa Sui simply described their appearance in his memory, and didn't know anything else. After such inquiries, everyone present basically recognized Kashiwa Sui's identity. Uzumaki Ashina glanced at the elder beside him, and that person immediately understood and said, "It's really a joy to see the family reunited. I wonder if Lord Kashiwa has any further plans? If there are no other relatives around, why not stay in the Uzumaki clan? After all, you are not young anymore. You can ask the younger generation to do anything later, and you can have a lot of free time." Uzumaki Ashina on the side also said at the right time, "That's right, Lord Kashiwa, I think you know the situation of my Uzumaki clan. Why don't you join my Uzumaki clan? In the future, not only your nephew Uzumaki Kyohei, but other younger generations will also respect you as their elders. Just stay in my clan." The purpose of Kashiwa's trip was just like this. Before, he just wanted to repay his life, but now it seems that he can also repay the kindness of the Uzumaki clan. But he can't agree so easily. After all, everyone doesn't know what Kashiwa is capable of now, and the status and authority he can get must be low. Although Bai Sui did not stay here for these were the result of Bai Sui's own strength and were tools that could help him realize his own ideas. Bai Sui said, "I am so lucky to receive your kindness." As he spoke, Bai Sui began to drive his domain to operate, and the whole person soared into the air and floated in the hall. All kinds of things around him also flew up and down with the guidance of Bai Sui's spiritual consciousness. Bai Sui's trip was intended to find blood relatives and pass on this ability. Not only those objects floating in the air were guided by Bai Sui's spiritual consciousness, but also the spiritual consciousness's control over energy was far superior to that of matter. Chapter 50 Join. In the field of Kashiwa Sui's consciousness, he began to collect the free chakra that was emanating from the people present. It can be said that everyone present, except Uzumaki Kyohei and his father Uzumaki Kunio, was a master of the Uzumaki clan. Although they did not have the Byakugan or Sharingan, which could directly see chakra, the Uzumaki clan's strong physique also gave them excellent chakra perception. So they keenly discovered the chakra that was condensed around Kashiwa Sui. They had never seen such a technique that was directly condensed outside the body. In the past, no matter what kind of ninjutsu it was, chakra came out of the body. They could clearly sense that these chakras were not released by Kashiwa Sui, but were naturally gathered, as if they were released. But how could this be possible? Although, some of these chakras were indeed somewhat similar to their own, but they were only somewhat similar. Everyone present was a smart person. Although they could not be sure, they would not deceive themselves. Since they had doubts, they would assume that the other party could really do it. It was this kind of thinking that allowed everyone present to survive the repeated fights. Of course, it is not as simple as just condensing chakra. The reason why Bai Sui did this was because of the skills he had explored when walking in the ninja world. Although Bai Sui's own true ki cannot directly release ninjutsu, the collected chakra can. Because the properties of the collected chakra are more complicated, it is more difficult to release it than for ninjas. How much more difficult is it? It is roughly similar to Naruto with the interference of the Nine Tails chakra. Such difficulty is indeed too difficult for a child. But for Bai Sui, who has already cultivated his spiritual consciousness, it is just like that. He just needs to concentrate a little. So, in the unbelievable eyes of everyone, the chakra that was originally condensed around Bai Sui was divided into several parts, and each of them flowed accordingly, thus stimulating ninjutsu. It is different from the combination ninjutsu performed by one person, because even if it is a combination ninjutsu, it must be released one by one. It is just through specific techniques that the flight speed of these ninjutsu is changed, so that each ninjutsu can be combined and interact with each other. In this case, Kashiwa Sui is simply releasing ninjutsu at the same time. It is not the same ninjutsu, or even the same type of escape technique. There are fire escape, earth escape, lightning escape, wind escape, and water escape. At the first moment when these ninjutsu were formed, although everyone present was still surprised at how Kashiwa Sui did it, their ninja qualities made them ready at the first time. waiting for these ninjutsu to be triggered so that they can intercept them. After all, this is the residence of the clan leader. If Bai Sui is allowed to destroy it, it will not be good after all. As for whether this building can survive Bai Sui's ninjutsu, everyone present, even Uzumaki Kyohei, would not think so. After all, they can sense the chakra contained in each ninjutsu, which is really huge. Although these seem to be low-level ninjutsu, but with such a huge chakra blessing, its power is far beyond imagination. However, things did not develop as they imagined. After all, Bai Sui just wanted to show his strength, not to smash the place. How could he tear down the house of the boss of the power before joining? All these ninjutsu were controlled by Bai Sui's consciousness and bound around him. What was manifested was that there were more than a dozen ninjutsu rotating around Bai Sui, including basin-sized fireballs emitting terrifying heat, electric balls that made a rustling sound, and shields made of blue water balls and clods of earth. There were also several high-speed wind blades running around these ninjutsu. Although it looked a mess, they existed in a chaotic yet orderly manner. They interacted but did not interfere with each other, which really shocked everyone. Feeling the power of these ninjutsu, no one would think it was fake. Even the illusion of the Uchiha clan could not do this. After showing these ninjutsu, Bai Sui broke it up again and restored it to the appearance of chakra. Although there would be some loss, when everyone felt the chakra that was recondensed around Bai Sui, they collectively lost their voices. And such means made Uzumaki Ashina think of some records in the clan, the legendary goddess of the rabbit and the six-path sage. Although he had never seen them in person, and didn't even know if they were as powerful as the legend said, he thought that if they really existed, they wouldn't be much stronger than Bai Sui now, right? Facing the gazes of the crowd, Bai Sui dissipated the chakras and repeated his previous words. I have a legacy, and I don't want him to go with me. I want future generations to learn from him. I wonder if the Ashina clan leader can agree. After seeing the muscles that Bai Sui showed, although he didn't know how the collective combat ability was, based on the chakra control ability he just showed, Bai Sui was definitely the top one among the masters he knew. And such a person, who wanted to leave his legacy in the whirlpool, naturally agreed, so he agreed. Not only Uzumaki Ashina, but also several elders present also agreed. Among them, the elder who had invited Bai Sui to stay in the whirlpool before, even directly proposed that Bai Sui become the elder of the clan. As soon as this was said, Bai Sui agreed after 3 refusals and 3 declines. After all, this was one of the purposes of showing his strength. So, that night, the Uzumaki clan held a clan meeting. Although the war caused the manpower to be scattered and a number of people could not be gathered for a while, the meaning had been conveyed, that is, from now on, Bai Sui is the elder of the Uzumaki clan. The elders of the Uzumaki clan are ranked according to age. He is currently the 4th elder, and he brought a new rule to the clan on the first day of his appointment. That is, all children of school age began to learn Chinese, and he also took out some teaching materials that he had prepared before from his storage jade pendant and distributed them to everyone. Mainly 3 character classic, 100 family names, Zhenguang Xian Wen, Tao Te Ching, University, Analects, Doctrine of the Mean, Mencius, Book of Songs, etc., although Bai Sui selectively deleted some of the content. But when these systematic masterpieces appeared in front of the world, they still shocked them. Although they couldn't understand the original text written in Chinese, they could understand the translation written by Bai Sui. Although it couldn't be translated very properly due to some problems with the terms, it was already amazing. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone, see you in the next video.